for Dirt Bike Test.
Live from Not Prump. This is someplace different. Welcome to Tech Talk Taco Tuesday, episode number 215. My name is Jimmy Lewis. This is a show where we talk about motorcycle-related products, and I'm lucky enough to be granted the permission to be allowed to come to the beautiful Dakar Daily Podcast headquarters here in the Cycle News offices. Is this correct so far?
Got it. Yeah, I don't know where you are.
Let me introduce my co-host tonight, or guests. I'm the guest tonight, so we'll just call you co-hosts. Jesse Ziegler.
Oh, that's me.
Yeah, that's you. And Quinn Cody.
All right.
So these are your two hosts of the Dakar Daily Podcast. It starts going live on Saturday morning.
Yeah, we're live already with some pre-shows, and then the start of the race, first stage, is Saturday.
It's Saturday, and it's too soon. I'm not ready.
Very, very early in the morning. These two guys are good friends of mine. I've known them for a long time. In fact, I gave Jesse his break in he'd be Montana Motocross. He'd be doing montanamotocross.com, and they'd probably have a podcast right now.
I'd be happy and totally content with montanamotocross.com now. After everything I've been through with you.
Okay. That's good. You'd still be you'd be so stoked to go ride a soggy, frozen motocross track right now.
And for some reason, Montana is not getting winter right now, so they're still riding. But yeah,
right.
Before my time with you, I would have given anything to ride in just January. Yeah.
So tonight's show we're gonna do the regular things. I hope. Hopefully everything's working. Nobody's complained about the sound yet. Usually we spend about 10 minutes figuring out how to make stuff work, but since I'm in a professional podcasting studio...
Absolutely.
And the only reason I know that is because you have these foam things on the wall.
All you have to do, if anybody out there listening wants to get a podcast studio, you just go on Amazon and you buy sound baffle things, and you push pin them to your wall, and you're a podcaster.
Right.
And you have to have an ego. That helps.
I think better yet, really, you should get some used pallets from just around the side of the building.
Oh yeah,
used
cool
pallets,
hipster pallet
Put them up
thing
on the wall like I did, and then have Quinn bring in stuff that he's crushed.
There we go.
On a motorcycle.
You don't have enough room. All the things Quinn's crushed in his career.
Have a big building, yeah.
But the good thing is that on this show we talk about motorcycle related products. We answer questions, and just one night only, because the one thing we don't talk about is racing. Well, we do a little bit if it involves like some of our subjects, but we try to keep it a little less timely. But we, unless it's about me racing, that's
going to be a long show. We start talking. We don't want Jimmy to start talking about racing.
Yeah, number one, he raced a lot. Number two, it's been a long time since he raced, so it's going to be like he's going to take a long time to remember what it was like back then.
And for sure the Dakar podium thing's going to come up here tonight. We already know. I'm just going to get ahead of it. So.
All the podiums. Twin.
Hey, you brought it up, not me.
Twin cylinder class, single cylinder class. Back when it was real Dakar.
Look at him. He's already you got him excited.
If you ask, I'll answer the question. Otherwise, I'm gonna kind of try to keep it a little bit professional here. I said I was going to do that. And so we luckily, George Justice says Tech Talk Taco W, which is Wednesday. Yes, because we can do whatever. Gronk VBS, which stands for, he's a guy from Canada. He won our Roosterendo segment. Are you familiar with our Roosterendo segment?
No.
So on this show we don't have it tonight because I wasn't prepared, and everybody probably thought it was last night.
They're probably like, where's my Roosterendo? It's Tuesday.
So basically, you send us a picture of your bike. So if you want to do this, if you're watching this show right now and you want to partake in Roosterendo, you send us a picture of your bike and you tell us the story about it, like what you modified, just things about your bike. We call it Roostendo and sometimes for sale. It's just like you're sending your ad that you're going to put on Craigslist. And then we talk about your bike. We discuss your modifications, good or bad. And the one that gives us the most enjoyment, we have a good sponsor in Taco Moto. That's tacomoto.co. Taco Mike kicks $100 to them to hopefully make their bike better. So we are not having that segment tonight.
Nice. That sounds fun, though.
Yeah, even though Gronk...
Get somebody to send their photo.
Gronk Valley Bomb Squad, that's what his VBS stands for. He won with a 1974 XL 175 last week. He raced it in a class where the combination of the bike and the rider, the age of the bike and the rider, had to be over 100.
That sounds like something you'd make up.
I think it was the Corduroy Enduro. It sounded pretty cool. But anyhow, and Paul Neff.
Oh, I know him.
He says all of his friends in one place.
Yeah, we know Paul.
Really?
Yeah, we know Paul.
Paul's MVP of Dakar Rally Daily 2023.
I know. I feel bad we never really followed up with Paul, but we need to get him on. I know.
We also didn't follow up with anybody else.
Follow up with each other.
He gets up early. He gets up early because he goes to work early. You could probably get him on because he might just be watching a tractor dig a hole in the ground. He's back to regular life, no more race guy, and he'd be good. His story is like it's rough because you know how much he put into. I mean, you know this from going to Dakar and how much you put into time and effort and family and sacrifices and all these things. Anyway, Gronk called me a hoser, so you can tell where he's from.
Yeah.
I'm glad he's a Canadian guy. They live underground most of the year, and so I can feel safe that I know most of the year he's going to be underground because he's probably a big dude. He's going to come and just go.
Yeah, I take a little offense to that. I'm from the Mexico of Canada.
So that's Montana.
If you're making fun of Canadians, you're making fun of my northern neighbor. That's not cool.
So not our usually group because they're probably hungover after having a drink too much since we were on the air last night. But thanks to
maybe they'll come out of the woodwork.
To all of our sponsors, I'm going to go through the sponsor read. Can I do sponsor reads in here, Jesse? Okay?
You can do whatever you want in here. We have no censorship.
Okay. Of course, we'd like to thank Yamaha, Blue Crew. I was going to ride a YZ125 today. I was going to have the most fun ever, but there weren't enough mud monkeys to sweep enough mud off the course.
I can vouch for that. It's in the back of your truck.
It's clean.
And your feet were not clean when you came into my office today.
But do you have the video of me vacuuming your office?
I will post that of you doing your work in the office, which is a nice like
Yamaha
goal for me to get you to clean my office.
Yamaha makes a lot of things, but they don't make vacuum cleaners that I know of. They make, musical instruments and really good UTVs and awesome watercraft. I have watercraft. I have a YZ125. Did I mention that? I need to get a new YZ125. Moto, of course, sponsor of the Rooster Endo segment. That's tacomoto.co. Scott Sports. I was going to have clear vision with awesome tear-offs today. It was going to be awesome. Scott Sports. Climb. Jesse, familiar?
I'm a Climb supporter,
right,
and a former Climb employee.
Do they support your podcast?
They're like the title sponsor of our podcast. It's technically the Climb Dakar Rally Daily Show.
Oh, well, how come you didn't tell me that?
Well, because I'm not good at my job.
Okay. What Climb gear did you wear today?
I wore a stowaway jacket to work because it was raining today.
Uh-huh.
And not only is it a stowaway jacket, it is a stowaway jacket that I have had since 2017. I rode it every day during the tour of Idaho in 2018. I literally wore that jacket every day. It's the same jacket.
Did you finish Tour of Idaho?
Yeah, I finished Tour of Idaho. What are you talking about? Yeah, dude. I'm a finisher. And I ran a 15-mile half marathon, which is a thing now. They're 15-mile half marathons in it because it was raining in Seattle a couple months ago. That jacket's been around, man.
Okay, that's
why
good.
I wore it.
I've evolved. I wear the Valdez parka.
You went back to the Valdez.
Dude,
you're back.
So good.
Way back.
That's a good piece of equipment. Of course, there's Trailtech, makers of fine GPS units. The Voyager Pro. You're a Voyager guy, right? Sometimes no, you're a Garmin guy.
Yeah, I'm a Garmin guy.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I broke a Voyager at King of the Motos last year.
Yeah, but you don't have buddy tracking.
Yeah,
he doesn't have any friends.
Oh,
I want.
No,
Yeah.
Paul
I prefer to ride by myself.
then you need the thing that Garmin makes that tracks where you're at.
Yeah.
You need your InReach.
InReach.
Yeah.
No one will ride with me anymore. So
yeah, you burned all those bridges.
Trailtech, maker of fine gauges, the kickstands. Like, you know a thing or two about KTM. We're going to get into this later. Yes.
Yep.
Your kickstands are They're really good at holding up only the bike. Maybe if you don't put a big gas tank on it, but you go anymore, you're going to need a Trail Tech kickstand for your KTM. Just saying.
Okay. Yeah.
DDC, chain wheels, really good chain wheels. They're our first sponsor, and of course, Fasst Company. Cole,
also a sponsor of Dakar Rally Daily.
Right.
Yes. He makes handlebars that don't hurt your
if
arms.
he cuts any of the budget out of Tech Talk Taco,
Oh, I forgot to say that. That's actually
that was part of the deal.
yeah.
That's
If I
part
got
of the
you
program.
to say Fasst Company today on your show, he was going to give me all your budget.
Okay.
So we're good.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I
Cole.
need a couple sets of handlebars. That's probably going to cut into my budget too. Bulletproof designs and double take mirrors.
Dude, all great people in my mind. I've broken all those products this year almost. Racing hard enduro. Well, I'm sorry, riding hard enduro events, not racing them.
Right. What happened to that series? Did it get
It's
canceled?
awesome. No, it's ready to rip, dude. King of the Motos is going off.
How come you didn't come? You know, so I did a class for Justin out at the King of the Motos. They had a kind of King of the Motors like rider appreciation day.
Okay.
They had a thing where they told you how the event was going to work. If you're a first timer, like if you
Right,
hadn't done it
sure.
before, but even if you kind of wanted to come out, and he actually showed them where the start was, which is he broke a lot of my rules. But I'm not in charge.
You would never do anything that nice
Yeah,
to
I'm
people.
not in charge anymore. But he showed them like where the start was and kind of where a couple of the loops were, because it's like, hey, if you're going to make the time to come out and do this
Yeah.
kind of stuff, so I wrote up something that I made go down, and I wrote up it, which is really stupid.
And you're like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Why am I here?
So are you back with the King of the Motos?
No.
Are you helping him out
Yes.
or what?
No.
You're back, but not
Yes, no,
back.
yeah.
Well, I left on good terms.
Yeah.
I mean, I finished. I was finished. It's like you finish a race and you're done with it. I finished doing that event when I was done with it. I had one finisher. That's the perfect extreme enduro, one finisher. I dare anybody else to try to do that ever again, because it's really easy to have zero finishers.
Yep.
Justin already proved that. Carl from Erzberg has proved it. A lot of they've tried it at Romaniacs a couple times. They've had to cut the course short because they knew it was going to be zero finishers. So they fixed this stuff. But to have one finisher is very, very difficult. And then I walked.
Perfect.
I
That's
went
a
out on
success.
top.
That's a success for a promoter success.
But
That's
it was just kind of perfect timing, because that's when a lot of the trophy trucks and stuff was coming. And
Yeah.
trust me, that didn't push me out. I was done, and that came in, so it opened up an extra day for that to happen. And then Justin had helped me a few times, and Dave wanted motorcycles back, and
Yeah.
I put those two together, and now Justin's doing it. He's made it grow. He's got it. He's got the hard enduro series, which is awesome.
it's great. It's part of a series last year for its return to the series or return to anything. It was it was awesome. It was a cool race. You got a lot of, like, for my level of guy, I think represents like the normal working class hard enduro guy that pays the bills, right? Like, we pay the entry fees. We don't finish all the time.
Right.
Or like in that middle, you get a ton of riding for your money there.
And all of my
good
sponsors
stuff.
make stuff that you destroy every time you
Yes, exactly. That's why I said I broke all those things at King of the Motos.
especially bulletproof designs.
Yeah, definitely bulletproof
Disc guards,
designs. Yes.
radiator guards.
Yep. Used them.
Chain guides.
Broke it.
Foot
Well, I didn't
pegs.
break it. I broke the chain guide, and then I put that on and didn't break that one.
Right. That billet housing, throttle housing. You seen that?
No, I haven't seen that because I
product.
went through 3 throttles in 22.
They heard about you, and they make this nice billet throttle housing, which I actually saw a dent in mine. My bike looks pretty good for doing all the hard enduro riding. I saw a dent in mine, and then I saw that, and I'm like, okay, this is gonna stop
was it.
that problem. So, anyways, thanks
Nice.
to all of our sponsors. Of course, thanks to everybody that's in the chat. Let us know where you're at so we can poke fun at you. And if you're Canadian, don't take offense. If you're from Australia, go ahead and send all the hate comms that you want. Because when I flush my toilet, I know exactly where it goes.
You're pissing off Australians?
Anybody.
You're not.
No,
you're not particular.
They're just waking up in the morning, so they're fresh and feisty.
They are feisty.
And sometimes they come on and they leave us, mean comments. But it's okay. I've got a list of them and stuff. So
I mean, all the Australians we talk about like us, I think.
Yeah. Oh, I'm good with Aussies.
Well, we don't really piss off anybody, do we?
Jimmy pisses everybody off though, so
It's kind of his brand.
I don't. I'm not like a nationalist or anything like that. I mean, but just ask them. Ask any of those guys. They all want to come here. I'm okay with it.
It's true. I would want to come here too if I lived down there.
Yeah. That's why I live here.
No, actually, Australia's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm sure it is.
Australia's
It
cool.
is for a while.
Canada's cool. Yeah, I don't know. I like it. I like it here too. We have,
nice.
you know, Quinn, you know this. Our desert.
Yeah.
Our riding in the Western United States, off the chart.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
100%.
So, hey, but anyways, again, thanks to all of our sponsors. Thanks to Cycle News and Jesse and the Dakar Daily Podcast. So if you guys, you can find them on all the podcast platforms. If you have Dakar questions, for sure, let us know, because we can probably get those answered. I'm sure that's the first thing you want to do is, you know, this is like a warm-up show for you. You can screw up here.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
I have so many screw-ups.
Already?
Yeah, because we just started doing video this year. So it's on Cycle News YouTube channel. So now I have twice as many buttons to push.
Oh, that's the easy part, Jesse.
And then it goes out into like another thing that I got to deal with and push more buttons over there.
It's what you were doing in the other room.
Yeah.
You're gonna get more gray hair than Quinn has. And I probably would have. I would probably.
You would have some too, yeah.
I would probably have some, but all mine fell off. I just bumped my head.
You get it. There's got to be something that does that automatically, right?
Yeah, there's got to be an
push the button
AI
every time
robot.
someone
Okay,
talks.
so on those Mevo cameras that I have,
Yeah.
there's a tracking feature.
Yeah.
Where if we were sitting here, we could have one camera, and it would literally see who was talking, and it would zoom in.
Yeah.
It's a pretty cool feature.
We're working in the past here. We know
Right.
that.
So, hey, Chris Real says this is a great team to start for 2024.
Ooh, wow, Chris.
Chris Real.
Don't get used to it, because these guys are not going to be regulars here. San Felipe Bob gives Jesse Ziegler a thumbs up with an on, by the way.
On.
And Dave Donnelly, one of our top fans, is going up in the hills tomorrow to get a Rooster Endo photo. And he says something that's really strange. He says Pahrump is the best.
Ooh, what? Best at what?
Best at, yeah.
So lots of stuff out of Pahrump.
Disappearing?
Yeah. So okay. Let's see. Waco, Texas, Canada. Yeah.
Waco, Texas is the Pahrump of Texas.
And he's claiming he's a snow Mexican.
Wait, what?
Snow
Snow Mexican. Yeah. I've never heard that before. But it makes sense.
Maybe.
Mexican, yeah. Goes
that-
north in the winter, or?
Canada?
Let's see. Hey,
I don't know what's offensive, so I don't know what to say.
Gronk says this. Quinn Cody in the house. Coolio. Your 2012 Dakar crash gives me nightmares. I had a similar over-the-bar lawn darter a few years ago. Glad you're still keeping on.
It would give me nightmares if I could remember it.
How could you forget it? It's been on repeat for
Yeah,
14
they
years.
used it on the intro, like, you know what, the Wild World, when we were kids, there was the Wild World of Sports, and there was the guy in the helicopter and the skis just going like that, and just
Exploding.
Like, they used it for at least 4 years. I remember watching the Dakar, and it went to the point where the video was so grainy, they just digitized the whole thing and just made it like
Yeah,
it
it's
was
like it's.
it was like in the background of
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Oh,
You know, I was so happy when Goncalves finally had a big one, and
he overtook.
he did the big like.
Oh yeah, he spun off
spin,
his
and,
bike.
yeah, he got up and ran back to his bike, but that took over from my crash. And
Yeah.
it was about 4 years that they played that in the highlights every single day.
Yeah, Quinn's just like, not again. I don't want to see this.
That was
Yeah.
that was bad. I was also thinking that, like, how bad in just scale, because you had a big one in San Felipe. Was it last year or year before?
Yeah.
2 years ago.
Two years.
Can't
Last year,
remember that
22.
either.
Yeah, all runs together.
22 was 2 years
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah. How big was that in comparison?
Ooh.
Well, I think I'm older now, so I'm not in as good a shape, so I brake when I crash rather than get up. And when I crashed in Dakar, actually, I didn't. Other than like just knocking myself completely out and silly and cutting my face open, I wasn't really hurt. I had like a small fracture on the end of my collarbone, but I took that and wasn't injured, And now when I crash, I mean, it's just.
Oh, yeah, I know this.
So I try not to crash anymore.
So probably the number one reason that I didn't ride today is because when you're riding on like that soupy mud, and it's like I was watching some of the guys that were walking around, because in Southern California now, so many people are here to watch the Supercross and stuff, and they're doing those moto tours where they're going to all the different tracks. Yep. And I was going to meet up Andrew Shorts here with his kid, so his kid's doing that too. You know, Andrew's taking his kid to all the track, but they're smart. They stayed home. I'm out here, so I went there, and I'm watching these guys walk around, and they're walking across like the pits, and you're walking, and then the foot hits the one that just goes.
Oh, the slippery.
Where it all looked good, but then it's nothing but water underneath. And I saw that happen a couple times, and I go, that's my face hitting the ground without even knowing. You're just gonna go into a turn, your front tire's just gonna go, whew, you know, because you're on a track. You end up pushing it. I don't know. Hopper Pavalodi. Pavar.
Nailed it.
You got to say this name.
Nailed it.
Pavarodi. Killer collaboration tonight. Yeah. Collaboration. Thank you, Hopper. Sorry I couldn't get your name right after 20 times. But Matthew Gigliotti.
Gigliotti?
I need to put the chat up in the.
I need to see that so I can help pronounce
Gigliotti.
Right. Let me. I have to push buttons here, which is like kind of what Jesse's doing. But yes, Jesse's usually trying to push my buttons and get me going. Oh, the chat's up. You can't see it.
I can't see it because I'm feeding you things. You're not feeding me things.
I could give you a
which
link
is
for the chat,
typical.
and you could put it on your phone.
Oh yeah, maybe. I don't know how this
put
works.
The link for the chat in the chat, and then.
Whoa, we're going deep into these.
Hey, we talk about motorcycle-related products. The chat is kind of scrolling up and down in the thing. It's there. It snowed in Prump today.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It was good. I was up in Bishop this morning, and there was snow all over the mountains. It snowed like almost 2 feet in Mammoth.
Sweet.
Yeah, we need the snow. So, how are people watching this over the Epstein release?
Oh boy,
that's what Matthew Gigliotti. What are they releasing? Something more important than Tech Talk Taco Wednesday tonight?
I don't know.
They're releasing the blacklist.
Yeah, the blacklist.
Jimmy
Jeffries
might
list.
Jimmy's name might end up. No,
I would take a free flight anywhere. Okay. I live down the street.
Private jet. I'm in.
I live down the street from a brothel. What's the difference, right?
Oh, Jesus.
Let's see. Okay.
Considerable difference.
Chris B says, checking in on South 15 in San Diego, working on roadbook learning options for my RFS. RFS, is that like a KTM RFS bike?
I think so.
Wow.
Okay. Sonora Rally Tower is leading for mount. Any digital setup suggestions?
Ooh.
So the Sonora, that's a Moto Minded product, correct?
I don't know what Moto Minded's branded. I don't think it's the Sonora, but
Rally Tower?
Yeah. The Moto Minded Rally Tower, he's working on a new update. I just talked to Chris yesterday, and he's working on some fitments. So Moto Minded is a good person to check in with if you have any tower or you want to connect anything electronic to your bike at all.
And I know Rally Navigator's got a new digital setup coming, right?
Yeah,
I haven't read it yet, but he sent me a bunch of stuff.
So I know a little bit about some of these things. So there's not only Moto Mind is a great place for like the kind of the tower setup and different things.
Yep.
Also, RMS Rally Management Service.
Correct.
There's a Canadian company, so you can search Rally Management Services. They have different options, but I will tell you what, if you're trying to get the simplest, easiest thing, go on ADV Rider, advrider.com, and search Rally Tower. And you can search Rally Blitz or, search Rally Blitz. And there's a lot of different options on that thread. And on most of my bikes, I don't have a tower. I have a tablet that's mounted with a very simple RAM mount. And so it's a 1.5-inch RAM ball with a big arm that's either clamped or bolted to the bars in some way, shape, or form. And so it's on and off. And then I have digital buttons, the electronic buttons that go through Bluetooth. So it's essentially the volume control on your thing. And
sure.
It's a really simple. Okay, so the Sonora Tower, Mark Daniels is telling us, is by Rally Management. So
okay, got it.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's a pretty simplistic setup because I want it on and off. I don't really want to have my bikes get too many multi-purposed and
you don't want to leave a tower on permanently.
I probably could. I mean, like I got a few bikes.
You could allocate one motorcycle in your arsenal for a
when guys
tower.
come in rally train, they'll always want the one that looks like the rally bike.
Yeah, because rally bikes look awesome.
And
that's why most people care about the sport.
And then when they crash it, they wonder why it costs $500. And that's just for the
because looking awesome costs money. Like.
So, anyways, like we do on the show, we're going to answer your questions as they kind of pop up. And Jesse G, and I don't really know this. He says Prump is best at meth.
I like this Jesse dude, not just because we have the cool name.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. I like Prump, actually. I've only had good times there.
Jesse has another question. For KTM, what's an average amount of time to change out an inline fuel filter? And how often should I take the fuel pump apart to check the screen and filter on the pump? Well, since we have the guy who's in charge of everything at KTM here.
He's Mr.
Yeah.
Where is he? Where's this guy?
Where's that guy?
So for those that don't know, Quinn does work for KTM. You are actually street R&D.
Yes. So street adventure and actually some off-road stuff. So
some off-road stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. I got some questions now. Yeah. So Quinn, we can deflect any. I have a couple questions for later on the show. We can deflect any KTM question to Quinn, and it's completely off the record and not official in this capacity.
See how this goes.
So I'm going to tell you, Jesse,
yes.
When do you change out an inline fuel filter? And so I wonder if he's talking. Do you think he's talking about the one inside the gas tank?
Or is he talking about the one in the coupler, the little screen in the coupler? Fuel connection?
Well, he's talking about fuel pumps. So that means fuel injected.
Yep.
And so inline, there's in tank, and the inline is that little tiny thing.
The little funnel, white funnel guy.
And then he says, and check the screen filter on the pump. So I want to tell you what, if you're careful about how clean your gas that goes in the tank is, the answer is almost never.
Yeah, I've never cleaned one.
I'm not a shill for KTM by any means. I mean, this show's sponsored by Yamaha.
Yeah.
By the way, you don't have to ever check them on Yamahas. In fact, Yamahas don't even use gas. They levitate across bumps.
Burn on pure freedom.
But I have a lot of those, and I've never had to change the little tiny guy, the little one. I remember when they very first came out, they were a smaller screen.
Yep.
In the early, that was Husaberg.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the Husaberg times, and then when KTM adopted fuel injection, that screen was a little different, and then they went to an updated screen. And I remember the early ones could plug if you got like watery, anything that wasn't gas in there. Like if you somehow got, two-stroke oil, could plug it. But I've never changed that one since modern times. Of those ones that had those in there, I put the updated ones in. Never changed them, and I mean I'm getting 400 and 500 hours out of the internal tank filter. So
yeah, I mean, so the early ones, like you said, that little screen. Every once in a while, there would be something weird with that, and they would clog up. But I think a lot of it too was just people not understanding how fuel injected worked, and they were having a problem with the fuel pump or a problem with the injector. The stuff was a little more raw back then, so there was issues, but now I haven't changed. I haven't looked at one of those things in years, and the new fuel pump, which is model year 23 plus, has the mesh, basically filter sack on the fuel pump on the pickup.
Right.
And so that thing, I don't know if there's a service limit on that. I haven't really looked at the manual.
It no longer has that inline fuel filter inside.
No.
Okay.
So it's basically it's in between the frame spar, the fuel pump, and there's a little like mesh.
Almost like a baggie.
Yeah,
like
and
a sack.
so the fuel splashes up on that and saturates it, and then it's pulled into the fuel pump through that.
Huh. Is that why guys are saying that they're running out before the tank's completely empty?
Yep.
Okay, so it's not at the very bottom of the tank.
No, there's no pickup at the bottom, and so that's some of the issues with like IMS has had is getting the bike to run, especially on like a dual sport type bike, where if you're riding on the street or something, and the fuel is not splashing up, then you can you could technically run out with like a liter left in your tank.
Or like if you're riding a rally bike, which we all have at times, half your gas is on one side of the tank, and if there's not crossovers,
yep.
There's, you gotta.
You're like the old XR650. We used to have to,
just tip it
lay
over.
it over to make it into a pit.
Yeah, we have experience with those.
It's just like switching a tank on an old Chevy truck.
I mean, we've run tests with these fuel pumps, and as long as you're riding and you're splashing fuel, that you'll run them down to, nearly nothing in the bottom.
Hey, have you heard what it's like to go on a trail ride with me before?
Never.
You're gonna run out of one of three things.
Never.
Jesse, you should know this.
I don't want to.
Remember like our Keysville tests?
I feel like these are just like buried deep memories that I've what do you do that? What does the psychiatrist say when you repress? That's it.
I'm going to tell you
this is not good for me right now.
I haven't changed much because I went on a trail ride with my wife and her friend the other day.
She's such a saint.
I know. And her friend Nicole is not a saint. She's kind of nuts. Nicole from Total Chaos Suspension. And so we went riding, and we took 3 bikes. We had a KTM 500 with a 4-gallon tank on it. We took a KTM 300 with the larger IMS. Oh, no, a Chirby's tank on it, so extra gallon. And Nicole took her box stock KTM 350 EXC. Mm-hmm. And so we went riding. We did a large number of miles, enough to where both my 300, the one I was riding the 300 at the time, because Heather likes 4 strokes better, and Nicole's 350 literally ran out while we were coming across the dry lake bed in Pahrump. I mean, literally
coming back to your house
within a quarter mile of each other.
Yeah, right.
So we accomplished. So Nicole kind of ran out of energy a little bit earlier in the day. I mean, it was only like 8 hours of riding, 7 or 8.
Not even a half day.
Jimmy's like perfect.
So ran out of energy. Then we ran out of gas in 2 of the 3 bikes. As it got
Jimmy's
dark,
like, I'm so happy now.
But we all had good headlights, so we did something about that. But anyways, back to the fuel pump thing. I mean, I've got thousands and thousands of hours, and with that internal one, I've cut them apart and looked at them, and they're still flowing. The problem I had a couple of them. They were made in Turkey ones, not made in Austria things, and a couple of those cracked, and then they lost pressure, but the filtering was still active on those. And then the other thing I noticed was, in a lot of those, they look a lot worse than they actually are, but I'm careful about. I'm not like I have a dry brake on top and I'm dumping dirt down on top of those things every single time. So I think it's a factor of how you're using it and what you're.
I think like most fuel issues when they pop up, especially in a filter, is because A, you got some crappy fuel or something in your fuel, but B would be like, I just didn't ride my bike for X amount of time, and the stuff that's in the fuel from the blender is, congealing, and it's, solidifying, and there's ethanol doing weird things to other components in there, and it's just making problems happen. So one, use your bike all the time also helps these things in my experience. Because I think in the chat I zoomed in, I think it's a 2013 350 EXC.
Okay.
And I have a 2013 500 that hasn't ridden for a couple of years, and I'm sure that filter's clogged.
2013, that's pretty early on in fuel injection.
Right, 12.
That's
the
first year.
That has a good filter in it. It doesn't have the turkey filter. That's what I call them, is the turkey
filter.
Well, the line would split, right, and then it would just be pumping pressure back into the tank.
It was never, for me. I've never seen the line split, and I mean, I have a lot of stock. I have a lot of stock. Tanks that have all the stuff in, and I have a lot of big tanks that I've put all the, I just bought a fuel pump assembly and stuff in. It was when all of a sudden they were turkey filters, I started hearing there was more problems with them. But you can replace that with a good metal surrounded filter and things. And
I think one of your sponsors makes he's claiming 1,000-hour fuel pump. Or I see that thing popping up all the time, right?
Okay, so Taco
I mean,
Moto
come on, Jimmy, you're missing opportunities.
Yeah, missing opportunities here.
Well, I'm telling you, the stock's
He sponsored us last year. Maybe he'll sponsor us again.
Taco, this is an official sales pitch. If you want people to talk professionally on your podcast, call me back, Mike. Actually, I didn't call you, but we should talk.
He's on vacation. Don't worry. I'm going to.
Jimmy said, KTM fuel pumps are perfect. You don't need to do anything.
I was saying they're very good. Actually, of all the fuel injected bikes that I've had over the times, I haven't had so few problems. But then again, like I said, put good gas in. If you're dumping crap into it all the time, or if there's, I don't know. I have bikes that sit for 6 and 8 months and they fire right up. I just fired up a Hooseberg the other day that, unfortunately, it sat for 6 months or more.
Maybe it's because you have 45 bikes and you can't physically ride them all.
Well, you're right.
That's a problem.
Anyways, Josh from Trail Tech says, hi, nice seeing you.
Oh.
Hey, Josh, nice to see you as well.
Hey, Josh.
Yeah, don't look at those guys. You need to sponsor us.
You're welcome that we're on the show and it's not just Jimmy
No,
here.
they're great. They're a great sponsor. Like I said, if me and Jesse went riding, we would use the Trail Tech Voyager and we'd use buddy tracking, and then Quinn with his Garmin can go be by himself and wonder where we are. So if you haven't used buddy tracking, it's pretty good. What else questions do we have here? Road Racer 3 says, do you run any type of special air filter or pre-filter on my Tenere 700?
Ooh.
No, actually, have you ridden a Tenere yet?
Yeah.
Good, huh?
That's okay.
He literally works for the company making the bikes that compete against the Tenere.
I mean, we ride all of them, right?
Right.
And I've ridden, I've ridden them back to back, Hondas, Yamahas, KTMs, and they all have their own character, right? Like everything's its own bike, and it kind of depends on what you like or what kind of riding you want to do.
For sure. Have you ridden the new Honda Transel?
No, not yet.
Probably should ride one of those. I told this about Tenere when I first rode one too.
Is this a 390 Adventure competitor or what? Are we gonna? I don't know.
Actually, power wise, because it's a 750.
Yeah,
it's pretty good. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the traction control and some of the stuff that they have in it, but it's just one of those things. Just ride it to feel what they're doing. It's a whole different thing. Anyways, back to the Tenere 700 filter. I am running just a foam. Instead of the paper filter, I'm running the foam filter, and I have the little snorkel removed, because there's a snorkel that people think it's to keep water out, but it's probably for sound more than anything else. Yeah. It's a little bit restrictive. Didn't make a huge difference. Mostly, it gave it a little more initial throttle response, and Dan says my audio is lower compared to Jesse.
That's because you don't know how to talk into microphones.
You're
cranked up and I'm down low. You have to get closer to your microphone.
Yeah, you might
like this. Thing. Just put your lips right on that thing.
Okay. I'll try to kiss this a little bit.
You're cranked all the way up. Johnny Campbell.
Johnny Campbell.
Yep. Well, he was the last one.
Relatively safe. He's been all over the world too. So you don't know what kind of things you pick up in these weird places.
Also, you're welcome for having my audio louder, so you can hear me more clearly. That's like a benefit to you.
Right.
Reader, listener.
Thank you, Dan.
What was his name, Dan?
Dan.
You're welcome, Dan.
Dan knows.
Dan knows.
Knous. Dave Donnelly says, Dakar. In your opinion, who's going to win? I'm definitely rooting for Ricky Braybeck. That's me too. And Skylar Howe's second.
This is a great opportunity.
I would have no problem with that. I'm sure Quinn has different opinions.
But
your nationality has to come before your work.
Quickly, we need to say you can actually predict who's going to win.
Oh, yeah. Give it a plug.
Through the Dakar Rally Fantasy Derby.
Yep.
We are the original fantasy experience. You can pick your own team every day to win. You can select riders to race. We're giving away prizes.
Not even team. You just select your individual riders for each stage. So you can play every day. You can not play, and you have results every day. So everybody's
Does this cost anything?
Nope. Free.
Totally free.
And we don't even sell your information or your email or anything like that. We're just doing it. Our buddy Radek, another Canadian.
Yeah.
Up there. He's
another guy I wouldn't want to go like this on top of my head.
No.
Yeah.
No, these are big people.
And he rides adventure bikes like toys.
Yes.
Yes, he does. Presented by Moto Minded this year.
Correct. So. Moto Minded's our Dakar Fantasy Derby sponsor. And Radek built it. It's really cool. You can go in and just play every day. It's all free, 100%. You go to chainslayer.com/Dakar, sign up for an account, and you can log in and start playing now. Because Prologue's coming up on Saturday, so get ready.
Have you made social media posts about this?
No, we're just ramping up. We're not ready.
Get it together and send it to me so I can put it on Dirt Bike Test and on the Tech Talk feed so that these people these awesome viewers of ours because they'll all join, and I know that I run a pretty smart audience here. They're going to win. And is there cash and prizes available?
There are prizes. No cash because we're poor. I spent all my money on all these buttons we're pushing. The
and
prizes.
If there was cash, we would have to be like a gambling site, and then
we'd have to
actually make money doing it.
And we'd have to move to Pahrump.
Oh, you can gamble in Vegas. Actually, you should let me run it. I'll just take a small slice right off the bottom.
Here it goes.
And then the whole thing will collapse. That's the way my business plan is.
I'm negotiating a grand prize, and I got on the phone with the guys at Gas, and I think we're going to give away one of their Moto e-bikes, like their beach cruiser e-bicycles for the grand prize, which is super cool.
Yeah, because anybody can use it that way.
It's totally cool, chill cruiser e-bike. I think they're on board, so more announcements for that. But nice. Just log in and play for fun, and to tease your friends that you're playing.
Yes. Can you make sub leagues or any of those weird? I don't do any of that sports gambling or stuff.
We didn't want it to be like too dorky. We didn't want to have like all these different sub leagues and
because the one thing I remember from last year, because last year I was in kind of a state of depression after Ricky crashed, so I wasn't paying too much attention, but I was listening to you guys, and I heard how you guys were just pissed at your results and the whole thing.
So basically, we give you $139,
I think
right?
it's
you
like
get $1 for each rider or something.
$1 for everybody that starts the race.
Yep.
In funds to
fund money
bid on each person's finish.
Yeah, and you bet whatever you want on until you're out of money, and you can bet all 130 guys.
You give them $1 a piece if you want to,
and you get paid if you pick their finish position. So, or you can load all your money on the top 3 if you want. So you can, and there's multipliers. It adds up, and so it's kind of like gambling.
This is all in Radek's brain.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, we gave our input, but then Radek just did what Radek thought.
Yeah, he slept on it. In the morning, he woke up and he had it built. Yeah, he's like, hey, I guess I built this in my sleep. I didn't even try.
Yeah.
Thanks, Radek.
Gronk says the T7 is okay, but it doesn't make me want to replace my 950 Adventure.
Ooh.
I have both of those bikes, and I can see his point.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. But at the same thing, it's like it's the evolution. Is it 20? It's almost 20 years.
Yeah.
That's how old that bike is. For 20 years old, that bike is really good because I have a BMW that's of the very same vintage, and they're completely different animals.
Yeah.
So, Jesse G says, as alumni from your class, I'm actually going to have to do this. I was ashamed to have struggled in the sandy trails last week out in the Mojave National Preserve. What is the trick again for riding sand? www.jimmylewisoffroad.com. We have classes in February. You can't go to the one in March and April. Come back out and take another class and realize that it's really simple. It's A, you were out of balance, and B, you didn't get the traction you expected, and then the series of events that followed those two facts showed that you were out of balance and you didn't have any traction.
And it feels terrible. I've been there.
On adventure bikes especially.
Yeah, it feels really uncomfortable, and you're like, I can't figure this out. But if you do...
Quinn has a nice video of doing some stuff in the Mojave National Preserve, don't you? Was that you, or was that on the BDR scouting run?
Oh, that's not him. That's the people he was with.
No.
In the preserve.
I thought in the preserve. Was that you, or was it...
Oh, that was Cole.
Cole. Yeah, he's trying to keep up with you.
Yeah, that's Cole. He sailed.
No, he was following me.
Yeah.
You smacked something, and then he hit it?
Yep. I looked back, and I'm like, oh, God.
You made it through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was scary. So Cole was filming the BDR scouting trip, and he had
GoPros
1090 loaded down. We had Tortec hard cases and
a lot of stuff.
All his camera gear, all his camping gear, everything loaded on that bike. He's wearing a backpack with camera stuff. And I mean, Cole
photographer's
Kirkpatrick is
A-level top guy. Yeah,
he's a national enduro winner, and from Texas, and just an awesome dude.
Yeah, cool rips.
So we were shooting some GoPro stuff and just ripping down this killer road in the Mojave Preserve, and
with washouts,
and there happened to be
included
one pretty big washout, and I saw it coming, and I just kind of took it And as I hit it, I looked back and I was like, oh God. And Cole hit it and he somehow rode it out and like laid it down, but it could have been bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's that happens. But don't lean back and hold it wide. That's not the technique for sand.
That's what I tell everyone who asks me how to ride sand. I just say lean back and hold it wide.
That's called get out of balance and get out of control. That's as simple as that. Because like think about it. When you lean back, what are you doing?
Hauling ass.
Getting out of balance.
No.
Don't do that.
That's
Just
why
kidding.
you're not
Don't
a riding
do that.
coach.
Just listen to your coach.
JimmyLewisOffroad.com. Hey, we have openings in February and then openings again in April. We can help fix it. I'm glad that you said that you forgot. What was the trick again? There's no trick. You have to practice it. If you didn't practice it, that's why you forgot. Jesse, we'll see you in a little while. What
I always tell guys is a little free piece of advice, because Jimmy's not going to give it up for free, but is just never close the throttle. So if you load your throttle to 2,500, 3,500 RPMs and just keep it there, then you're going to be able to do most anything without the front diving. And then once the weight starts to pitch forward on an adventure bike, then you start that knifing motion and things start going sideways.
So the only reason the bike knifes is because you have initiated a turn in one direction or the other, which basically means you're out of balance. So if you can identify where your balance is through techniques that you're learning in JimmyLewisOffroadTraining.com, if you kind of understand that, but you're right about the zero, then don't go to zero throttle. And the funny thing is, how people, I always wonder, you ever wonder about this? Maybe Jessica can help. How do people fry their clutches in the sand?
Hauling ass.
Holding the clutch halfway in, halfway out.
Yeah, but your tire's already spinning. So why are you slipping the clutch?
They're scared.
Well, then let go of it. Grip the frickin' bar and turn the throttle down. The bike will go slower.
It's because the clutch is a control mechanism, and when you're learning how to ride, you pull the clutch in when there's a problem.
Okay,
and you're like, oh, you pull the clutch in. I gotta slow down. If I don't pull the clutch in, I'm gonna go crazy. But that's not what you teach. I know what you teach.
We have a beginner riding class where we teach you about how to use the clutch as a power amplifier, not a power reducer.
Got it.
Clutch should be used as a power amplifier. Well, once you start reading, if you're super high level, I'll let you reduce the power with the clutch, because generally you're not gonna like overheat the bike and stuff. But I see people riding in sand. The reason they pump the clutch is, guess when the bike accelerates for most people that are of that level? When they pull it in. Right. Because all of a sudden it grabs traction. Instead of spinning, it grabs traction. And then what happens? Because they usually don't turn the throttle back at the same time. They just pull it in, then it revs up, and then they drop the clutch again. Then it breaks traction. So everything they just wanted to happen didn't happen, and now things are going wrong. So, hey Jesse, you just got like kind of half the lesson right there.
Yeah,
he's getting there. The other thing is just learn to ride properly 100% on hard pack surface, and be super confident on your motorcycle there before you
expect it to work.
Because
we spend a whole day in a dry lake bed, and people are blown away that the minute you think you have this stuff mastered, and the reason you can't do it slow on a dry lake bed is because you need that speed momentum to mask the balance problem. But the minute you go someplace where that starts affecting, then all of a sudden, okay, now here's the result. And so it's
first of all, it's not easy. Like, I just want to put that out there. Like, riding an off-road motorcycle competently isn't like super easy. Like, you can go up and down your driveway, or up and down the street, or even up and down a dirt road. That's pretty easy to balance on a motorcycle that's moving. But to do things that take any sort of control and balance and all those things at the same time, it's complicated. There's a lot going on if you're doing it right. So don't get discouraged. Just keep trying.
And it's stuff you have to practice and learn.
Yeah.
You can't, if you have to think about pulling in the clutch and turning the throttle and stuff. Yeah. Well, you gotta figure out how to not think about that. So you can think about, I want to put my tire here, and I need to lean this way, or I need to anticipate. And it gets to the point where you're the whole time you're riding, you're trying to anticipate what you're going. And then even to kind of throw this back into the whole rally thing, now you have to read that. A road book. Yeah. You have to, and I always tell people, because this is another thing I teach. I got a class coming up Friday. We're going to do our next online class. If you want to learn how to read that stuff
while riding,
or know how to make it work.
This looks pretty easy.
Straight.
Yeah, straight. Super. Why would they put those other 3 lines?
Which is this direction right here.
Are you sure that's 43 that way? Oh, that way. Okay, maybe.
Yeah, I'm positive.
And then you go 50 through this, and then look at this. This one's good. Yeah, 130 meters between those 2 turns. Easy. I don't know why these guys get lost.
Turn to 50, so it's going to be a left-right.
They have a map. Why do they get lost?
Got it. Yeah. What's the problem?
There's a lot of colors that mean things and numbers.
Yeah.
That's. Anyways, but you start thinking about like if you have to think about how to ride a motorcycle, because I've had people ask me, it's like, hey Jimmy, I want to come and learn how to navigate through sand dunes, and I go, well, what's the problem?
Right.
And they're like, well,
who are you running from?
Like navigating through sand dunes. And I go, is it the navigation or is it riding through the sand dunes? And they go,
yeah, both.
Well, they go, well, just, yeah, kind of both. And I go, so you know how to navigate perfect, right? Okay, so we can just work on the sand dune riding? No, I know how to ride through the sand dunes. I go, well, why is it when you put the 2 of those things together, it becomes problematic? Which one aren't you good at so we can focus on the real problem? And it's like, no, you're not good at either of them.
Yeah.
So let's.
This is what Jeff Aaron does to me when I ride trials. He looks at me and goes, this is interesting. You're not good at this. And he's just like, why are you doing this wrong? Why are you doing this wrong? But I think like trials is a good, like it's obviously like a concentrated mistakes for me. Like it just shows every mistake you're making in a controlled environment. You're not going anywhere and you're making tons of mistakes on a trials bike. So it's it's a great reference tool.
I always say, look where the top riders today in a lot of the extreme enduros and stuff, look where they came from. Look at the strong trials background they have. And it's a lot easier to take somebody with that background and then teach them how to ride a little bit faster or to be able to put their foot down. Yeah. It was funny to watch the Jeff Aarons of the world and guys like Graham Jarvis and stuff.
Yeah.
Not want to put their foot down when they're riding something gnarly, and then they realize, I can put my foot down and give it a little push.
Yeah. Now they're going.
And like, whoa!
And then it's like I didn't even get penalized, and I just went past everybody.
Why was I making this so hard on myself?
Lots of cool stuff. Facebook user says he likes prizes, so I think he's going to sign up for your thing.
Chainslayer.com/Dakar.
Chainslayer.com/Dakar. Jesse's going to have the press release ready for us in the morning.
Yep.
And San Felipe Bob says he won the Baja 2000 while riding out of balance, and it wasn't free. So, okay, I definitely do have some more questions here on one of these forms I have in front of my thing. Hopefully the sound is working good. I'm trying to talk closer to my mic, but hey, another thing that's out there, the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame. You familiar with this?
I've seen some stuff on it, but I haven't.
You know that Jerry Bernardo guy?
Yeah.
Guy?
Yeah.
I'll bet you between me and him, we can get you in there. You in there?
Yeah.
Yeah. We'd have to run that highlight reel of you in Dakar for a little while, but we'll get over it real quick. Hot Shoe Hall of Fame in Las Vegas, fabulous Las Vegas on January 27th. If you want to come and meet a lot of moto legends, Gene Woods puts together an awesome event. It's a fundraiser it's called the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame. Is based in flat track and speedway, which is kind of his background, but they buy shoes for less advantaged people. So he gets a whole bunch of shoes and kind of hands them out to people in need, which is a cool thing. And he's building up he's got his go-kart track. It's at an electric go-kart track, which these things have no horsepower, but it's hard to keep them going straight. That's how slippery it is. It's like drifting. And I'll tell you what, Sarah Price is really good at doing those things. She beat me last year, the go-karts.
Nice.
So good times. That's January 27th in Vegas. And if you're ever in Vegas and you want to go do some go-karts down on Fremont Street, let me know. I might have a discount code.
Ooh.
Let's see. What
I'll
else?
be there for the AIM Expo. So I'm going to.
Oh, yeah, we should go.
We should go race some go-karts for the AIM Expo.
Yeah. I'm trying. I gotta go race against Gene. He owns the place. He has like cheater carts that he has in the back, and he always comes out.
Oh.
And I told Gene if I could race one of his carts and he gets in a normal one, and I can beat him, then I get a comp ride for all my friends. We'll bring a whole bunch of friends. So I know that's I'm gonna win.
Well, that's how Vegas works. Like you just gotta have a connection, right?
It's all connections.
It's just connections, like.
But this is the point of the show where we take a few calls. I wonder if I have my commercial breaks. I don't even know if I have those things in.
I don't know how to do that.
I'm going to have to add it into the show later.
I don't know how to do a commercial break.
So we're just going to run straight.
Run it straight through.
I don't even know what time we started. Probably have to get Somebody's going to have to go to the liquor store. Hey, Quinn, do you know these guys?
This is actually from my hometown. I grew up
That's
right there
why
in
I was asking.
Los Olivos. So, 805, the Firestone. So, I went to school with some of those guys.
You should talk to them because I know they're into motorcycles. I like beer. It's a match made in heaven.
Wow.
My show isn't like all professional like yours, your Dakar Daily Podcast.
Well, we wake up early. We can't just be drinking beer here at 5 a.m.
We tried a beer show one time, and it was not very successful.
I'm already not good at push these buttons.
A Dakar Daily Podcast?
Yeah, so we tried to stay up and do it live.
Like for the final?
While it was happening. So it was like, I think it was the prologue last year. And so it was
we're like, first race,
midnight.
no big deal.
Prologue,
it'll be over super fast.
Sit there. And then we don't have to get up early tomorrow. Well, and we didn't have any information. It ended up bad.
Wasn't our best show.
Yeah, getting info is not that easy, especially now since they did this thing. And a lot of people don't know this. The tracking. Yeah. So we like to watch the tracking.
Yeah.
And now because, if you think there's cheating going on, it's not cheating. There's just people that are smarter than the rules. And so the car guys were watching the motorcycle tracking to see where the difficult navigation was. Yep. Because they could see where they went off, and they'd say, oh, hey, we need to be careful here. And they could see who went which directions, and they could see how many guys. They literally had guys watching it, the tracking, and say, hey, there's going to be a place where you're going to see 3 tracks going off, but stay on the main track. Or they're going to go, hey, a bunch of guys went off, and they went way quicker between these 2 CPs.
Yeah.
Go to the...
Go right or go left
or
whatever.
At this kilometer, and they could roughly tell them. And so this is what we call map manning.
Yeah.
There's map man for all this stuff.
They're just doing it live now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
with
the tracking.
So now they have to. Now we can't see tracking until the cars start. So they're holding all that back.
That explains why it's kind of delayed.
Which is going to make it really difficult for you guys to kind of be able to analyze or do the show depending on when you kind of get started.
We're professionals. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, you think so? Glad I told you that right there. So you guys, know why you're sitting there going.
I mean, usually when we wake up, the stage is done, and then we just play it. We just play it back.
Yeah,
watch just scroll through it.
And while we're talking to
people,
people,
looking at all the notes, they do a pretty good job of kind of posting some notes for the most part.
Yeah, it skips some relevant stuff, and it's only part of the story. That's why it's nice having, like direct connection. Like Quinn obviously knows all of the rally racers that are currently racing, basically, and we can hit them on WhatsApp or FaceTime, or we did a Facebook audio call last year. Like any way we can connect, we're connecting real time. Plus we have 2 people there that start sending us stuff, and it's getting to be pretty interactive with the pits.
So you guys have some journalists. Justin.
Yeah.
Is Justin over there?
No.
We have Anthony Bonello. He's a Australian Canadian.
Another Canadian.
Yep.
He's 2 of your favorites.
No, they're great. I love him.
He's there with a side-by-side team, actually. He's doing
Mexican,
video.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's embedded in a side-by-side team.
Yeah. And so he's going to be cruising around, getting voice clips and interviews and asking questions and stuff for us. And then last year we had the guy, Ashley from the ASO, the guy that does all the voiceover stuff for the ASO. He started messaging us, and he's like, hey, guys, love the podcast. You're giving me all this information.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Sometimes you wouldn't know this, but sometimes on the rally, you don't know what's going on. You know, you can't take the global view. You're focused on doing kind of, especially those guys that are working in the TV production. I got to know a lot of them because when I was over there, I was sleeping underneath the TV truck because it was like literally this TV airplane.
Yeah.
Under the wing of the TV, it was some of the only shade in the desert. And it was one of the safest places to be because they didn't want the TV equipment getting stolen. At your pit where your tent was set up a lot of the times, your stuff would get stolen all the time.
Yeah.
Because they're working on your bike. They're not looking at your tent, and some guy walks over, slits it in, and stuff's gone. So I was, and then they also, because these bivouacs are in the middle of nowhere in Africa, and they would fly to go. They couldn't get fuel where they landed, so they have to fly to a major airport and get fuel. These guys were from South Africa. They'd fly and they'd go get fuel. They'd also load up with beer. And then they'd fly back. And so I could trade my team shirt that I got a new team shirt every day for interviews and stuff. I could trade my stinky team shirt that I wear as my undergarment. I could trade that for a beer every day underneath the SAF airplane. Yeah. So that's how I know this. So a little different. You were South America?
Yeah, I was South America.
Yeah.
But I kind of pulled the same trick. I would sneak off and go to the media area because it was usually quiet and it had like there was behind the main tent and it kind of out of the way, and you didn't have trucks coming in and out all night and people banging on stuff. And so I'd carry my tent over there and set up over there. And as long as my alarm went, as long as I woke up, that was okay, because nobody was going to know where I was.
Yeah. My team knew where I was.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, Jimmy, how come you don't stay with the team? And I'm like, I'm sleeping.
Yeah.
It's important.
Get to sleep.
So yeah, good times. Cool. So what we have here is let's see, what are we testing at Dirt Bike Test? Trevor's testing. You know Trevor?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's this little
I know Trevor
that does a lot of stuff for us. He finally gave me
He was doing some stuff for Lee the other day, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's your Grand Prix suspension guy. Yeah,
I see.
Kit suspension guy. Good kid. He's got good feel.
Yeah.
He actually does.
Yeah, no, Lee likes him.
Yeah, so we're testing I'm testing some TourTech suspension on my Tenere. KTM 300 two-stroke, Beta 300 two-stroke. Trevor he's had him for like 2 months. He wouldn't give him up. Do you know why?
Because 302 strokes are awesome.
Yeah. Little bitch kid. And Honda Transalp. I need to get the videos done on those things.
How's the TourTech suspension on the? Are you Paul Torres yet, or?
Yeah, what are you doing on that thing?
No, not me.
You doing any trial skills?
I'm like small. I'm getting smaller, Quinn. I'm actually shrinking. So that guy's like 6'8" or something. Like when people go, look what he does on a bike, I go, have you seen that guy? I don't know how he rode a normal trials bike.
Yeah.
And he was really good at that.
That guy's just breaking all these Yamaha Tenere 700 owners. They're just getting broke down.
Buying one of those things.
They're like,
and thinking,
I can try that. And they just,
yeah.
You see the imitators in Europe every once in a while. A video.
There's a couple
of guys that are trying to be like Paul, and it's really it doesn't look the same. Just say that.
I knew a couple guys that worked. One of them worked with a company he was working with, and another was a filmer guy. And I got to see some clips.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. It's
the ones that don't make the edit.
They're like skateboarding videos.
Yeah.
They're literally like skateboarding videos where you're just going to send it, and the only one you're going to see is the banger.
Yep, for sure.
That's the way it works out. But anyways, it was really interesting, Quinn, it's because they had a shock that I put on, and I put it on, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be way too soft. And there's something, I want to see what's inside of it because I'm just curious, because it was like good adventure comfort, but really good control. I mean, I thought it was going to be wallowy, everything.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the hell they're doing inside of this thing.
They have like the dual like bottoming control or something in it, or
so what's weird is the rebound actually is backwards, the way the rebound works. Like it's a screw, because it's not a you're not closing off a needle, you're moving a piston.
Okay.
So there's some newer stuff inside of the shock, but really, really good. So good that now I have to go work on the forks, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to get the forks to work that good. So I might, because you got a fork that's kind of, on adventure bikes like our styles, we want them a little bit stiffer. Yeah. We don't want to remove so much.
Yep.
But you still need that safety and that control. And now I've got this shock that feels soft, but it doesn't move. It moves when it needs to.
Right.
It doesn't wallow. And now I got forks that don't. And so I have a bike that, like, the back end, it gets tracked. It's like air shock.
Yeah.
You love me hear me say air shock.
Air shock.
HV2 air shock. It's like air shock, and trying to get the good thing is that bike was so stinking heavy, you could get the forks to move really good. Everything moved a lot. But anyways, no, it's kind of cool. So I got some more work to do on that.
Just a shock, though, right? They don't make like a cartridge for the fork or anything. They just do a shock.
I think they have there's somebody that has a cartridge kit or something. I was actually talking to Race Tech because they have some parts and some things. And but I'm trying to rebuild my TTR 125 shock, which is a little more important to me right now. Because as I don't have a shock, I don't have a flat track bike.
Ooh.
Monkey Crow, yeah.
Ooh. That's dangerous.
All the things. Hey, so we have at least questions that you submit whether you're commenting on one of our videos, in the chat, on the Facebooks or the social media things. We go back and check all these. I collect all the questions, and then we answer them here. I'm going to ask these guys the questions.
Ooh.
And,
hot seat. We're in the hot seat.
Right. You used to have to be in the hot seat before. So
Not
this
scared.
is on our just on our YZ450 WR450 videos. It says, I love them, but their gas tank location is horrible. So he's making a
sounds more like a comment than a question.
Sometimes
there.
they're comments, and we'll get this later. Remember, Yamaha's a sponsor of the show, so we can't say anything bad about Yamahas. But I tend to agree to a certain extent with that. I mean,
which part, like the filling of the fuel tank?
I mean, the little plastic
like
cover
dealing with the
kinda
tiny little seat you have to take off, and then you have to get in your fingers inside like a hole, and like the cap's hard, like that part of this tank, or like handling wise, the tank's in a bad spot.
I don't know. He didn't really explain.
It's probably like working,
probably like
filling the bike up with gas.
Like,
yeah,
it's
annoying.
Usability.
I think it's difficult. I don't want to say horrible. It's a difficult location because to make a big gas tank, which we all want.
Yeah.
So you have to take that seat piece off, and you have a thing sitting there. And Seat Concepts luckily makes a nice seat that kind of cups the gas cap and stuff. It's definitely a problematic location for making them big, because a lot of times the easiest place to make them big is like up in the front where their airbox now is.
Yeah.
The airbox location is awesome for power and
keeping it clean,
air filter maintenance, and keeping it clean. It's a trade off at this point. You just got to kind of decide, because probably the reason I don't ride my WR450 as much as I would is because it's a gallon short of fuel that I need, and I'd rather put it in a gas tank than carry it on my back, kind of a thing, or whatever.
Yeah.
But I tend to agree. Sacred Gardens 1683. Do you think that's his wife's YouTube account that he just commented on? Sacred Gardens. Yeah. Huh. Sometimes I go look to see the pages when people comment.
Or Google that.
Especially when they when they're Australian and they just like slaying me. I go see how many videos they talk about my sound quality. It's like, Jimmy, you need to talk closer to the microphone. I'm like, I go look at their videos. No, it's a bunch of GoPro videos of them chasing their dog around their yard. Come on. Okay. Todd W92345 says, you guys set a great example for the dirt bike magazine guys to follow for their testing video. He's talking about the Cove 450.
Oh, Cove 450 is a hot topic right now.
It is hot. Yeah.
And your Cove video was okay.
Yeah, co-videos. Thanks, Jesse. Yeah,
it's all right. Mine was okay,
too. Too bad they couldn't offer the extensive insight and quantifiable data that you did many months prior to their video.
Hey,
great job. Keep up this quality content. And there's a thumbs up in that.
You didn't see Carson Brown ripping around on the rally bike, though, in Jimmy's video.
It's true.
No,
that scares me. Well,
Carson, I could watch that kid ride all day long.
Yeah,
I love watching him.
He's loose.
Yeah. He's good.
You know, he was one of our original test riders at Dirt Bike Test. I fired him. No, I didn't.
No.
Jimmy. It was getting too busy. He was getting too busy goofing off and breaking bikes all the time, and he was making his dad write the tests and stuff. I mean, it was like
kid's not dumb.
He's
not dumb.
No, he's smart.
If you had known, Jimmy,
I should have just kept
coddling him, feeding him bikes.
I gave him a CR60. Dwayne Brown. I always said that Dwayne Brown has ruined mini bike racing completely, because
he made him really good.
I used to be able to make.
Here we go about mini bike racing.
Oh gosh, Langtown. Who called Langtown? Called. They want their story back.
I used to weld my own frames with rebar and stuff, and I could go to Langtown and win. And then Dwayne Brown shows up with a damn YZ80 aluminum framed with an XR75 motor stuffed in it. And it was like it changed everything. And that was the one that him and his two brothers built in their garage, because it rains all the time. They have nothing better to do than weld aluminum. I mean, they worked at Boeing. They had CNC machines that are disposable and nobody was looking. And they came down and ruined mini bike racing. Next thing, you need $10,000 to race mini bikes in some guy's backyard to make a $1,200 check.
I want somebody to make a meme of Jimmy saying, I used to weld my frames with rebar.
I did. I probably sent Dave Miller to his grave early. Because I raced Dave Miller with my rebar frames too. I got the plastic off the bike that I beat Dave Miller on out of a trash can on the side of the Honda box van that had Mouse McCoy or Larry Brooks was riding one of the 80s, and every Moto got brand new plastic, and they just take the plastic off and throw it in the trash can. I'd sneak up and steal it, and then I bolt it because it didn't fit my XR80.
Yeah,
but it looked cool.
Hack it a little bit.
So I bolted on. That's how you get started.
That's awesome.
That's desire.
Yeah.
Okay, so
a lot's changed.
I was going to tell you guys, how's your Cove video?
Oh, it's awesome.
Cove 450 video?
It's amazing. We rode it. We didn't get to race it. We didn't get to keep it for that long.
Oh.
So we just had it for like a little afternoon out in Page, Arizona, after the Hard Enduro in Arizona.
Oh.
Grinding Stone. So me and Sean Finley took it for a rip. We actually had both of them, and then we just ripped them around and rode them for a little first impression. It's on Cycle News YouTube.
Can I tell you how to make a expertise and insight quantifiable data in your video?
No.
No?
I want to see a teardown on that thing.
So
see, pull the tanks off, and let's look at the engine mounts.
So you know what's funny? I did pull it apart, and I should have videoed it when I did it. But the problem is I don't put enough quantifiable data into my videos. It's kind of like this. I just do it because I need to know. So
and you piss off all the people that work for you.
It's a KTM shell. Mm-hmm. It's like a KTM, like the
like
shapes.
They copied the fuel tanks exactly, almost.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's that, but the motor is a Honda 450 RX kind of thing. Mm-hmm. The chassis is more Honda, but steel
frame.
It's a steel frame, but not. It's pretty amazing when you start looking at it. I did look at all this stuff, but we took it. We picked it up in Washington, basically the Canadian border, because I couldn't go across the border because those beady-eyed peoples come out of their caves and try to attack me. It was the summer, so they're out. I mean, it's not like anyhow.
Canadians.
So we rode it from there back down to Pahrump. We took the Cove and rode and took my Tenere. We loaded them up. We put some Moscow bags on the thing, and me and Matt rode back down to Pahrump, and thing had a good time. It did its job. It was a really good like I'll call it lightweight adventure bike. Mm-hmm. Comfortable, not very fast. Like I said, it's a 450 with like 350 level power.
Yeah, it's not exciting.
KTM. You just have to rev it. You know, if you want a lot of power, you have to rev it. So you kind of, I jokingly say, you ride it like a rally bike. You know, you rev it.
Rev it out.
You don't have to, but when you're going 70 miles an hour down the road, you're kind of revving it. So good bike. When I got back, I did a full service on it. You know, pulled the oil filter, air filter. Air filter was totally clean. You know, we didn't ride in the dust too much. But I've never seen magnets come out of an engine with so little metal. I mean, minimal. The oil looked pretty. It was used. Yeah. You know, we used the clutch a lot. We went in some pretty technical trails where we were first gear. You know, because it's geared tall.
Yep.
The one that we had was geared tall, which would help the throttle response a little bit to lower the gearing. And I know they talk about this, but we did, and we just rode it the way it came. And it had the cat in it, the whole 9 yards. I was blown away by how clean the oil. I cut the oil filter. I'm looking for it wasn't like one gear shard inside of it. No aluminum. The magnet, you know, when you wipe a magnet off, it leaves like a pretty good black spot on a paper towel. Yeah. Nothing. Yeah. It's cleaner than any of my bikes that I've ever pulled apart. And that blew me away and kind of surprised.
The Chinese, like a lot of their stuff, like their engine cases and things like that, all their tooling is basically brand new, right? It's really good, high quality stuff. And so a lot of the like engine cases, especially coming out of China, are better than the stuff that comes out of Europe because it's fresh, all new equipment, and it literally just is basically they'll build a state of the art factory just there for that reason. Yeah, for that bike, you know.
I was like I said, I was kind of blown away, and then I talked to them about like kind of what Cove, whatever they're really trying to do. You know, they're trying to kind of set themselves as the higher standard brand and different things. And it was that motor had the bottom end of the. What is it? CF Moto or it's
Shenzhen.
So yeah, I found it on Alibaba.
Oh, yeah.
The engine, and
you can buy it. Yeah,
you can buy it. Yeah, it's
a Honda 450X
kind of
R/clone thing.
And you know, like I'm still trying to figure. I've never seen a Cove motorcycle, so like I don't know if they're an established brand in China or I've never seen anything other than this rally bike.
Yeah,
and
it's the only one I've seen.
So I think they're just taking bits and pieces, and you know they're buying an engine from CF Moto, and then maybe they're getting someone to do a chassis for them, and then copy the KTM fuel tanks and put it all together in one package. The other thing is like that prototype 800 or 700 adventure bike that they
twin
put out at EICMA or
the twin
whatever,
cylinder,
and that's like our 790 engine
motor,
right? So they're buying. Like for people that don't know, like KTM sold the old 790 engine to CF Moto and as kind of a part of a joint venture. And now they're producing 790 adventures for for KTM.
Correct.
But they own that engine.
You moved all of KTM's production to China, right, Quinn?
All of it. It's all there.
Yeah.
You buy a new 300, it's coming from China.
I saw the
I didn't
press
say
release.
that.
You know what?
So basically,
let's get to the bottom of this.
Yeah, I mean that's a whole nother topic. But so yeah, I mean, of course,
the stuff. Like I said, I don't. I mean, I do care where it comes from. I'd love it to be American made. I mean, good God, if we could. And Frank White wants to come on the program and talk about American made and ATK and Avenger and all the, it's which would be interesting. It'd be an awesome topic. But some of the stuff that you think is coming from one place is coming from another place. It just gets shipped around the world and assembled someplace or where it's made. And your stuff might have been coming from China a long time ago. Because, like you said, they make. I
mean, the whole reason that KTM, obviously some of the street bike production is getting moved to China, so you're going to see a lot of like smaller displacement, lower end bikes coming out of China. All the premium bikes, the dirt bikes, the big adventure bikes, and stuff like that are going to continue to come from Madenkoven.
Right.
But the
390 comes from India.
Yeah, 390 comes from India. It has, since the very beginning, right? It was never, ever designed to be produced in Austria. Like that bike was industrialized for the Indian market, and it's sold around the world.
It's a good bike.
Yeah, and
it's like, it's funny because I
really
don't know
like
why. I
390s.
have two of them. I own two of them. I don't know why I forget that when people start talking about like adventure bikes and stuff, I don't know why I just kind of forget that.
To recommend a 390 adventure.
Everybody's like Honda CR 300L, CRF 300L, and where's that probably built? Brazil?
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know.
Well, and that's the whole root of the China thing is on the street side. You have to compete on price, and so you're competing with Kawasaki, Yamaha, Honda, that are all building bikes in China and Thailand and Indonesia and stuff like that. So to compete in the street, you have to have a low
price
cost
advantage.
bike. Yeah. And Austria is basically at capacity just building dirt bikes and adventure bikes. So it's difficult to expand beyond that. And, but it's pretty amazing. Like you said, with the 390 adventure, I mean, like Jesse and I, we've taken those things on rides all over, and they're a killer bike. Like we thrash the hell out of 390.
They just keep coming back for more.
Yeah. So I rode it. We did the same ride that I did on the Cove. I did on a KTM 390 the year before. I mean, different, but same distance and all the stuff. Me and Logan. There's supposed to be a video, but I need to get Chat GTP or AI to finish the damn country song that I wrote. I got most of the words done. I could probably feed it in as Jesse showed me.
It'll do it for
make
you.
A theme song.
Yeah.
I don't want to give up my only skill in life because this.
And that's what we're going to be stuck with.
Tech Talk Taco Tuesday number 216. If I can't do it on Tuesday, I'm probably just going to ask like an AI to do it for me.
Yeah,
it'll be better.
We'll replicate you pretty soon.
I mean,
right?
Chinese dirt bikes and AI journalists.
Yeah,
will be in business.
It's getting there. Seamarsh 3756 says this show really needs to be sponsored by Adderall. Oh God.
I just watched a documentary on Adderall and
really,
I'm all
is it good for you?
I don't think it's good for you, but I'm interested.
Okay. Oh, good. I'll take that as a compliment then.
Yeah.
Quinn, at any time you can just pat me on the back when it gets to this point. Roger Sipes 3335 says outstanding review. And that could have been posted on any one of our amazing videos on www.dirtbiketest.com.
That's an easy one to remember.
Yeah.
Dirt Bike Test. It's not, you don't have to spell it out. Just say dirtbiketest.com. Nobody does the www thing anymore.
They don't?
You don't have to.
Do you think AI would do it? If you asked AI to do a read, would it put the W's in front of it?
Well, yeah, it'll do whatever you tell it to. That's the point.
Well, if you didn't really give
it depends. You can give it a style. You can say, do it like,
promote
a guy, like a under 40 guy would do it.
Yeah, do it like a cool
like
person.
Old, tired.
I'm curious, is this how you're doing all your testing these days? You sit in the office and ask AI to do
that? Yeah, 100%.
I've seen him put the schematics on the thing and have the what's the name of the damn SolidWorks shake the frame and bend the swing arm, and
it's like the topological optimization, and you can simulate anything.
Hey Quinn, back in my day, I don't like to talk about myself too much on this show, but They said, "Hey Jimmy, go jump this tabletop on the rally bike because they need to see if the frame stretched."
Yeah, I mean we still do that.
Yeah, I know, because AI cannot do what I do.
No.
Do they just come out with like a tape measure or like a fixed fixture and like stick it in the axles? Or like, yes, it stretched. Like,
No,
do they just physically measure
took
it?
the whole frame apart, drove it back to Germany, and put it in a jig.
That was
because we were in Spain, I think.
Okay, you were in Europe.
The track. They literally took the whole bike apart, bolted another frame because we were trying some different foot peg locations and stuff. Drove it back to Germany and put it in the jig.
Jeez.
And measured it up, and then
Measure for stretch.
Yeah, they were going to try some different reinforcements and things, but every day it was like, okay, here's a new frame, go jump the tabletop, and I mean it was huge, it was like a 120 footer.
Yeah,
like on a. You want to know what's interesting about that thing is because the motors went like this, not like this. You'd have to scrub a little bit so you landed straight. I had to learn
to lean into
when
it.
You're in the air for that, and you can't panic rev. If your front end goes low, you have to resist panic revving because
ride it out.
It'll
twist.
It'll turn down. It's like a turn down scrub. It's really bad.
Scrub built in.
Yeah. Hey, Larry R 9400 says, any preference between the CRF 450X and the WR 450F for senior rider doing easy single track? And do I think that maintenance and longevity are comparable? Jesse doesn't talk that much, so we'll ask him.
I think they're comparable maintenance and longevity. If you're looking at it, call it headlight bike, right? These are headlight 450s.
450.
Right.
Is this technically a green sticker bike? Are they green sticker anymore?
So here's
here we go.
Because Yamaha's not, right?
No, it's not even sold in California.
Yeah.
So
Right.
no. But the Honda.
Wait, and the R, it's a 450X.
X, yeah.
So
Okay.
It'll have all the emissions on it.
I don't know what Honda are they able to? Does it have a plastic tank?
They're still green sticker.
They're
think.
still green
the X
sticker.
is still green sticker.
Yeah.
I thought the X was essentially the L without subframe, weight, all the turn signals and everything. It has the same similar emission system as all the L stuff.
Tank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has a street legal tank.
It's a street legal tank.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, at that point with those kind of bikes, the thing with the WR is it's definitely comes more corked up. Or you can't get it.
Yeah.
But even when you're buying it as a 50 state bike, Yamaha has a different way of interpreting the rules. Like you guys have a certain way, Honda has a certain way.
Sure.
Everybody has a certain way. And the thing that changed recently, and it kind of came out of nowhere, was all the evaporative emissions stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They went, then that's why I was asking about the gas tank, because I couldn't remember, because it has to know, you actually.
So it's a spill, it's a tip test.
It's when the bike tips over, that gas has to stay contained on the vehicle. Mm. And so it requires charcoal canisters and all the same stuff that your car in your street has and street bikes have.
Yeah.
So that got difficult.
I guess I would wonder what kind of single track it is, and if
those are
either one of those bikes is the right choice for true single track. He said easy single track.
Which, like I would say, easy single track is kind of like quad trail.
That's two track.
Yeah, I know.
They have two. They have two wheels in a row.
I have people ask me like they so the quantification of like different roads.
I mean, those are both heavy bikes.
There's no standard. There's no standard. Sure.
They're big bikes. And then you guys just started coming back with 500 XCFW.
Yeah. And 450.
Yes. So.
And a 450 also?
No. So 500W is the green sticker bike.
Right.
It's XWF.
Okay. Just add some letters.
Yeah. So that's green sticker. So that's a California legal 500 and 350. Mm-hmm. And then the 450 XCFW is a competition bike. So 450
XCFW. So is that?
It's an enduro competition bike. Headlight.
So when you
PDS.
think, when you think KTM or Husqvarna, 450s are competition
Race.
bike.
Right.
And 350 and 500 are street legal and green sticker.
So that 450 would be 6-speed transmission.
Yes.
It's just like
it's a European 450 EXC.
Okay. So it does have some emissions.
There's no emission stuff.
No emissions stuff.
It's it would be their uncorked version.
Yeah. Okay, so
it's a competition bike. So you don't get a green sticker or registration in California. a lot of guys in Colorado and Arizona and Nevada don't care about that kind of thing. So the 450 has actually been a really strong bike for people outside of California.
Right. Yeah. And it doesn't have it doesn't have any evap stuff on it. It's just
it's a race bike.
Like a race bike. Oh, yeah. I didn't know. They
a lot of people. So the first year, nobody really knew about it.
I don't even
So
know
the first
about
year
this,
was 23.
Yeah.
And no one really knew what it was. And we had to, it was kind of slow. Like it didn't really sell. And then we were like trying to explain to people, hey, it's.
Because someone told me, they go, don't get a 500, get a 450. And I'm like, why? I like the 500 engine character better.
Yeah,
I just really do. And they're like, no, because it doesn't have all the stuff. I'm like, it's an EXC or XCFW. And, I did. So
I mean, it's confusing as heck, but we have to provide a green sticker bike for California customers that just want to go buy a bike and go to Kennedy Meadows or go to Gorman or whatever and ride on legally on public land. So and not have to pay registration and insurance like you would on a street legal bike.
Yeah. It's filling in that hole like.
Yeah, this is our answer to guys that want to race the bike and people outside of California.
Right.
Yeah. So
that's interesting. I learned something tonight, so that's good. Every once in a while.
That's why we're here.
XLV 750 RD01.
Whoa.
Yeah. It says it's called a centrifugal clutch. I did a review on a I explained how a recluse clutch worked. Mm-hmm. It's like, no, he's wrong. It's called a recluse clutch.
I think that's the name.
It works on the principles of centrifugal force. I'll agree with them there, but
yes, it does.
I'm glad that he pointed that out. It's like just like you pointed out that you make a bike that I don't know about, and it's a centrifugal clutch. So
I should pat you on the back, Jimmy, because you're subjecting yourself to all of this stuff publicly. It's
good job.
I wouldn't do this.
You're
admitting mistakes too.
Husky Hauler 26 says excellent co-host.
Which one?
Well, we're not talking about this show.
Oh.
Yeah, so don't get your hopes up.
That sucks.
Yeah, it was actually Pete from Moscow Moto. Pete?
Yeah, Pete. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, he came out and took my class. Him and a couple of his employees took class, and
now he's in like some country riding around like he always does with the skills you taught him.
He seems to ride a lot.
He rides a lot.
I know he's riding a lot because he parked at my house and he just started based out of my house and left his trailer there.
I think in general people can agree that Pete's doing it right.
Yeah, I think Pete's got it figured out.
Yeah.
He showed up. But he showed up on a Tuesday, and you know what happens when you show up on a Tuesday? Co-host. Yeah. Don't. But not anybody. You got to be a high-profile industry figure to do that. Or you have to have a studio that has all the right equipment and everything set up. We have more stuff in the chat here. I have a couple more questions there. Oh boy.
Hope they're good ones.
Oh boy. Here we go.
Oh.
And we've got hashers. My bad habit of.
Are you?
You know what my New Year's resolution was?
I can't imagine you ever had a New Year's resolution.
Did I tell you earlier today? I didn't tell you.
No, you forgot to mention it.
No. So I have this thing where I like running beer miles.
Yes, I've tried that with you before. It didn't work.
Yeah. So
I went 1/4 of a mile, and I'm like, I'd rather just sit down and drink beer. That's easier.
So my New Year's resolution this year was to not run like beer miles or something. So I went running with my running club, and we did one on the first, like 10 o'clock in the morning.
Just blew it right away.
So now I'm back to normal.
Got that out of your system.
Got it. Yeah.
Broke your New Year's resolution.
So did you have questions
January
from
1st?
hashers or comments?
Yeah. Well,
Are they inappropriate like most hashing things?
Well, like one of them said to San Felipe Bob, I saw it here a second ago. It was a hasher hunka hunka.
Ooh.
Says to San Felipe Bob, where did it go? Quit pounding the little man until your cuff heals.
That's what I was afraid of. Oh boy.
Jesse G said, would KTM consider putting at least 3 gallons of gas on the EXC model stock? That's a really good question.
Yeah, that is actually a really good question, and I mean, in the end, we've discussed this before, but in the end, it kind of, for us, it's easier just to leave it for the aftermarket. I mean, it depends on what. Obviously, if you're talking EXC street legal, then, you know, that's more fuel. We talk about the evap system that you have to make the bike pass EPA regulations and whatnot. So yeah, more fuel, you're going to have a bigger evap system, all these things. So we tend to leave that for the aftermarket.
It's funny because I don't think a lot of regular consumers kind of understand like a lot of what you do. You probably before you did what you do.
I didn't understand it. No.
Yeah, I'm still learning all the time when I was like, why can't you do this? It's like, oh, and then you get to like, well, it has to do with some regulation. Yep. Like everybody's like, why do they sell them all corked up? Like, have you heard of the sound testing?
Yeah.
Like the tires on your bike are not on your bike because they're the best tires for traction and performance. They pass a sound test on bikes that are required to do that.
Yeah. I mean, a 500 and 350 XC is a street legal bike. And so it has to pass sound tests, braking tests, all the emission tests, evap shed tests where they put them in a shed, like it's a simulated hot environment. Yeah. And there can't be any fuel vapors that come off the bike. So there's a lot involved in like delivering that bike. So, try to have a formula that works and kind of stick to that.
You've got to be thankful that some of these manufacturers are willing to go through the hoops that it takes to get these bikes to you. I mean, just, and the fact that the good thing is, like you said, they'll let the aftermarket manufacturers take care of it. 'Cause some people only want a gallon. Yeah. I want 2. I want the stock tank or I want 2 more gallons because I'm going to ride it completely, sort of completely different.
And, in Europe too, that the EXCs are, what we have here is pretty close to what like the competition bikes are in Europe. And they only want a 2-gallon tank. Like they don't want much more than that. So
getting them to
I mean, there's
build
a gas
more
station.
tanks.
There's a gas station in every town kind of thing. And their towns aren't more than 10 miles apart.
Right. Yeah. And now also like they're very similar fuel tank to what's on like the XCs and XCWs. And so, to have one tank is a lot easier.
Correct. Takamoto Co. They're watching us live. Says we'll get some jail private label Adderall up on the website.
Oh, that's the good stuff.
Yeah,
that's the good stuff.
I don't know if you want to go into that business, Mike. I mean, I know some suppliers out in Pahrump. Oh, we heard about what Pahrump was good for earlier in the show. If you know what I mean.
Try not to insult anybody here.
Yeah, it starts with an M. It's M Adderall. Meh.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the same, right?
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, what's funny is I don't know why it's so stereotypical of like the kind of the desert Southwest because it's in the woods.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
It's just rural.
Yeah.
Yeah. All places with low population struggle with those problems.
Just cut the M out and go to the T.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Keith Dowdle, does Jimmy still do the running beer drinking competition thing? Yeah. If so, does he offer a class for that?
Speaking of Keith Dowdle is a Cycle News contributor. By the way, he's one of our head adventure bike guy. Okay. Yeah, he's a longtime Honda employee. Him and Ray Conway, all those guys. Keith's the man. Yeah,
he used to pit for us down in Mexico.
So when Johnny Campbell was doing the Nevada rally, Keith was driving the truck. Carried all the parts and stuff like that.
And he's fit, retired. He'd be great at hashing.
They're already giving him cheers in the chat. They're recruiting him over there.
Oh, he doesn't know what he's getting into. He's gonna have a weird nickname soon.
Gronk Valley Bomb Squad says I regretfully bought a 21 Beta 500 RRS because I didn't want to uncork a 500 EXC. So he's in Canada, so I don't know what uncorking involves there.
What's the regret?
Usually it's the top of a beer can. Next bike is going to be orange if it's not a Cove Rally. What's the 450 model in Canada? A 450 XCFW?
I think it's the same.
It's the same. So that's a North American model. So 450 XCW would be a competition bike in Canada as well.
Yeah, and they can plate competition bikes there.
Which would be fairly similar to a Beta 500 probably, because Beta doesn't do a lot of strict emissions, in my opinion. You ride their bikes and they're
getting to the point where they have to. They have to start.
Yeah, I mean, they might as
like
they get bigger, right?
20 years ago.
Yeah. Right.
I mean,
yeah, I mean, the more volume they sell. I don't know what the threshold is, but I know there's low volume exemptions with EPA and stuff. And so if it's below a certain level, they can have a little. Maybe the regulations a little less stringent. But
that 450 is
I don't know,
super popular. I was talking to Chris Vestal, Moto Minded again. He's like, I just went for a trail ride, and I was like, I'm jealous because I'm in the office. And he's like, yeah, I got that 450. It's so awesome. And he's a Colorado guy, so I think he has a license.
I know they're loud.
Probably
450
or the 5 betas.
The beta. I just know the beta street legal bike. It's like rah, rah, rah.
Yeah, because they sound like little
got
trophy
an FMF
trucks
on it. Or
yeah, they
something,
have a full FMF system on some of them, and they just rip. The 430 is especially raspy and spunky and really fun to ride.
Is that? I mean, are the ones you guys are seeing, are those stock, or they've been
the ones that that I've ridden recently? We actually, Kit Palmer, I think at Cycle News, has a 500 RR street legal bike right now, but I haven't ridden it.
He should get on the show is Rodney Smith. He'd tell you all about the emissions on the
bike.
Yeah.
He would. I could probably get Rodney. I'd just have him come down and tell him let's go riding on Tuesday.
Yep.
It's like, hey Rodney, sit down right over there. Well, I say here's tequila.
He's their media guy.
I know.
Yeah.
Rodney brings
Rodney will
bikes
hook you up
by all the time. That's all good. Chris Alamangos, are you familiar with this guy?
I've heard.
He's Australian.
Oh.
Yeah, he says,
one of your fans.
Does Jimmy still do the pushy death ride? If so, when is the next one?
Ooh.
You know the pushy death ride.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I've never been invited because you're inconsiderate.
No, because you chickened out. It's like a little 33-mile. It's really fun.
It's the mountain bike one.
We start at the White Pipe, and we ride up to my cabin.
Yeah.
At 33 miles, it's always really hot, and it's like the wind seems to always blow in your face the whole way. It's uphill and it's sand. But they paved that first section now, so it's gotten a lot easier. I did it last year. I hadn't ridden. I probably did like 10 miles in the whole year preceding it. I did it last year. It was horrible.
Sounds like one of our bad ideas.
It sounds very normal for us.
I probably drank more beers than I did miles on the bike. It was a long day. Donatoni just like did out and backs and stuff.
Yeah, Donatoni's not breaking a sweat.
Doing hill repeats.
Yeah.
He's an athlete.
He rode a gravel bike on it.
Yeah.
In the sand.
I ran into Donatoni. We were doing the Rock Cobbler gravel bike race in Bakersfield last year. And I ran into Donatoni. I was out on the course and I'm eating a bag of potato chips. And I'm trying to ride my bike and I look over and there's Donatoni next to me.
Is he doing push-ups or burpees or something to get a workout in?
He hung out for a minute and I'm like, go.
Yeah, I'm not going to keep up with you, Tony.
So, okay, back to the, where's our question? Got a couple other more. So if you have any more questions, feel free to pop them up in the chat. We will get to all of those tonight. Thanks again. I was informed by one of our people in the chat that I need to reintroduce my co-host. Yeah, Jesse Ziegler from Cycle News.
Hi.
And Digital Throttle and the Dakar Daily Podcast.
Yeah, Dakar Rally Daily Podcast.
Dakar Rally Daily, brought to you by Climb. And Moto
Lots of other people. And Moto Minded.
Right.
KTM.
And Fasst Company.
Fasst Company.
So you're going to get...
Rally Navigator.
Rally Navigator.
I get paid every time I say these words.
Mike Shirley just texted me. I'm trying to get Mike Shirley Rally Navigator because we've got to go work on the Nora Mexico 1000. Yeah. Do you think if there was a 10 grand purse, it would get some pro riders there?
To the Mexican 1000?
Yeah. Nora.
Yeah,
it's full road book. And
really?
I'm gonna make them. Like I sent away kind of some of my proposals today for where I wanted to go. Like it's not going to be, it'll be good. It'll be like no trophy truck hoop bullshit. It's going to be, you're going to have to find the canyons and I mean,
it sounds super cool, but the hard thing is with like pro guys here is that it's either Ricky or Skylar or Mason and those guys and
they're busy.
They're in contracts and all this stuff. So then there's a few other guys that would possibly do it, but
because I don't know if I think we might get some of the top guys that might, because who knows? Do we know where Snore is at? We know it's off the.
It's off the FIM
calendar.
FIM calendar, yeah.
It's supposed to be in April. I talked to Ace today, and he said April, but he doesn't know when. And I don't think Darren's posted anything yet.
Yeah. And so I'm just thinking that I mean, it's especially if you're a beginner, you want to get into rally. I promise you, this is the best one because there's nothing crazy technical with the map books, and we're 3 years in, to doing it map book only, and everybody resisted because those Baja guys want to see big giant arrows on 8x10 sheets, and they want to pre-run all this other stuff. So everything we did broke the rules, because Nora wanted to make it safe. And the good thing about with rally format is the dangers are marked in the road book. And we didn't make the road book difficult, so it was easy to stay on the course, and the dangers were marked, and so that the safety went up. We had less incidents, but we want to start making it better because now a lot of the guys that have been doing it, they're like, hey, this rally format's actually really fun. Making these road books is fun. And part of Nora's deal with me was everybody took the class. They took my rally navigation class, so we taught them to navigate so they weren't going out there blind. Of course, probably 60% of them just logged in and then went and made dinner or drank beer. I didn't drink beer while I was doing the class, but we taught them, and they actually were very successful at navigating. And the road books got high level. I mean, they're as good as you can make road books for what we're doing. And so kind of a cool thing. So if you're into rally and you want to start, because it's hard. It's almost impossible to do an event in the United States. Because just of permitting, I know this because I work on other events where we do we don't really do cross country. We do cross country in open areas. Because it's the only place you can do it. But the permitting, you literally have to permit every road anybody could possibly drive on.
Yeah. So if you get lost, that has to be part of the course.
Yeah. And there's guys that are saying, oh yeah, I'm going to do a rally. And there's a guy in Utah, the Kota rally, where he has managed to get a permit, and you look at his list of requirements, like you have to run a DOT tire in a tube because a Moose is not DOT. And so it's like he's just doing his best to fit
get it to
into
happen.
the rules and make it happen.
Which is cool.
Which is, I mean, it's awesome, that he's going to this level to do it.
But it shows you how ridiculous the rules are.
His whole rally is under a speed limit.
Really?
Because
you're on public road here or a public trail.
Trails, there's certain areas, and I know this just from working on some of the other stuff I do, there's speed limits in rural roads, and if you all of a sudden close it down, it becomes a closed course.
Right.
Then it has to be marked.
It has to be patrolled, and every possible intersection has to be controlled. And
So you're going to have to go to Baja, to Mexico, to mainland Mexico and stuff to do these type of things, and that's a whole nother level of how do we do this. Luckily, when I work with Nora, I have my counterparts, my Mexican counterparts, they know the rules, they know how to do this, and it's pretty cool. But so it sounds like a fun event. I mean, I know everybody who does it is super stoked. They call it the funnest race on earth, and it's like doing the Baja 1000, but break it into 6 days. It's almost like pre-running. It's almost like your last pre-run.
Yeah.
It's your first one because you've never been on this stuff before, but it's like your last one because you're riding at a race pace, and we have safety. There's medical. We don't have helicopters flying around like in Dakar and stuff, which is some of the best medical I've ever experienced in my life. After I got back from Dakar, I was like, why the hell would I ever want to go down and race in Baja again? I mean, just like score. Yeah. Just hands off. I'm not going to touch that. Like, just take care of yourself.
We've had that discussion, in
just
scores.
Recently,
They've asked me, like how can we get KTM back to Baja? How can we get them back down there? And I'm just like, I can give you a list, but you're not going to like it.
Yeah, same.
And it's basically what Nora has done is pretty close to, aside from maybe obviously more helicopter safety and stuff. But, the big thing was like you're going to have to break it into stages. You're going to have to control the stages. You're going to have to have, a specific section where everything you have a helicopter in the air. And, if that helicopter can't fly, you're going to have to have a plan B.
It,
Everybody's got to park.
And that's what the ASO does for Dakar, and
they're smart about the way they do it, and the helicopters in the air to film things. Yeah. But when stuff goes wrong, it becomes medical, and so TV's paying for it, secondary or primary mission, but it becomes medical, and they have cars on the ground, and the good thing, I mean, think about it, it's bad, but it's good, is like when there's an incident, the helicopter goes there, that's good footage. I mean, there's something's going on there. It's not good, but then they can address the situation and take care of it. And having been a recipient of flying in a helicopter in Dakar, I appreciate this. I understand this. Otherwise I'd be dead out there. So different.
Yeah, I mean,
things.
You see like at the 1,000 this year what happened with Cade, the rider for Mark Samuels. Yeah. And I mean, he crashed just not too long before dark down there, right? So when if you crash at 3:00 and then they don't have a helicopter to you and in the air before the sun goes down, like you're not getting out of there.
Yeah.
And I mean, I want to say they didn't get him out until the next day. And just a whole chain of events that was gnarly.
And that's not this isn't by any means the first time that's happened in that race. And
not at all.
I mean, when you're racing at night, you knew this. And when I raced for Honda, there was a plane in the air at night.
Mm-hmm.
There was a plane, and we had chase trucks that were on the highways and stuff that knew how to be able to get to you.
Yep.
And it was at least thought about.
Yeah.
If something went wrong, here's what we're going to do. But and you always rode knowing that, look, you can't crash down here.
Yeah, this is not
you're on your own.
Crash.
Yeah, I mean, even I guess I always sort of rode like that a little bit, but you're racing and you kind of take a little bit into your own, your own hands. But you got to understand the situation, and especially when you're involving manufacturers, they're level with their highly paid guys and stuff like that. You expect a certain amount of safety to be. It's dangerous. It's dangerous what we do. I mean, heck, your Dakar Daily Podcast.
Yeah.
The first one, the pre-show, was
It's
all
live
about
now.
the
Injuries
of, and these are a lot of times just guys out training, which blows me away, by the way, because I'm like, I don't know, it's like, do we have a new send it culture? Has medical gotten so good these days that it's like, I can go to the hospital, no big deal?
I think it's a little bit of that, like with social media and everything now, and it's like these guys are all trying to outdo each other with who can send it off the dune the furthest, and they stop every 25 kilometers to video each other, and and it's it's like you do that stuff long enough, you're gonna crash.
Back when Kevin was Honda and Kendall was his guy, our buddy Kendall.
Yeah.
And Kendall's like, I just feel like I'm this guy's filmer.
Yeah,
film me.
And then I would see it, because I'm seeing him like, what the hell? You're gonna die. Like, you can't ride like that around here. I mean, this is like his first tour around like Pahrump. It's like, dude, our road books are not made this way.
Remember Beretta when he came over?
Oh yeah,
destroy himself out in Barstow.
Yeah, that was Barstow. He didn't get to me.
Yeah, yeah.
I think he did like 2 days of suspension out at our place, and he blamed the bike, and I was like, no, it's Pahrump.
I mean, when we did road books, for the most part, we would just go ride, like a dual sport ride or something, right? You didn't.
My road book's the first line in the damn road book says not marked for safety.
Yeah,
because
no dangers.
We could have a thunder shower, and everything's gonna change. And in reality, and this is the way when I'm talking to these guys, when we're working with these guys, it's like, look, if you get off the ideal course, it's no longer marked for danger. Even though you see in 3/4 miles there's a danger, well, that ditch cuts at an angle that comes at it closer, and it comes at a half mile, and that triple down is now at a half mile, 3/4 of a mile, so you can't keep the throttle taped across. Like, I always tell, it's like, have you ever like seen the ocean and it's like it's all smooth, then the rogue wave with the cut on the back of it
drops. Yep.
Guess what? It's a half mile closer than you thought it was.
Yeah.
I mean, so even in a race, you have to. So some of this, and I think the problem is some of these guys, like they're kind of trusting the road book too much, or they get comfortable turning their brains off, and they said, if there's no dangers in the road book, how do you know you're on your road book? And here's where problems can, or
for sure,
I want to get the best Instagram banger.
Maybe.
I mean,
competition's high too.
I've gone out a couple of times with Jordy Villadome's building road books with him, or just kind of following him around basically, and he is super anal about getting all the
he has a
dangers.
real system.
I mean, every single danger is marked, and he's like, "Hey, if I get lazy and miss a danger, and one of these guys crashes, it's my fault. You know, it's not their fault for crashing."
I'm on the other side of
and
that.
I know I am too. I'm like you. I'm like, hey, don't be stupid.
See,
you know.
But you see where he's used to making it. You know, where he's at in Spain and stuff like that, and then also when they go to Morocco, there's so many less dangers.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think this is why they've kind of come over here as well, because you train here, and then the riding over there, even in Saudi and stuff, they say it's a little bit. It's not nearly as like you race in Morocco, right?
Yeah.
So did you ever feel?
Actually, I've never raced in Morocco.
Never
I've
raced.
ridden there, but
I'm just going to take it now.
Yeah. But it's like here, every other like thing is going to kill you.
Yeah.
Where there, 99 out of 100 don't kill you, but it's that one
big one. Yeah.
It's that you just get complacent because it's like nothing. But here, if you saw that, if the road did that,
yeah.
You have to slow down. You have to check up. There, it's like if you check up, you lose time.
Yeah.
And so it's a different. I think I always want to say it's an older desert where the holes have filled in a little bit. Where our desert is still new and it's got more cut to it. And
yeah, there's a lot of elevation in our desert, and the water is always running. I think over there it's a little flatter and kind of more of pulled up. And
so over there, if it's danger, it has to be marked.
Yeah.
Because you've just gone over 15 things that should have been danger, and there's one that is. And that's just the one thing I know is the very first time I rode across there, I'm just like, why am I letting off? I just kept letting off. And then I wondered why I was so much faster than guys like Peter Hansel in Nevada. You know,
because everything looks terrible.
Because every time he saw something, he's like rolling out of his throttle. I'm just like, that's not bad. You know, but it's a total opposite. It was different. You know, so
just what you're used to.
Crazy. Okay, another question from Asher Leto 3801. He says, I'm having an issue where if I stiffen my forks, I can ride harder, but my wrists hurt. And if I run soft, my wrists are fine. So he's talking about fork setting. But I bottom out too much. What would the feasible solution be to this? Jesse?
I think I know your answer to this one.
Jesse?
Flex bars.
Right. I would say the exact same thing.
Fasst Company flex bars. You stiffen your suspension up to give you hold up, and you just
sure that's
use
not
the comfort
Cole?
of the bars. Yeah,
No,
is that Cole?
No,
Is
it's
that
not
Cole
Cole.
asking?
It's not Cole. I know flex bars would help out, but I don't have $300 to spare.
Ooh.
Would a respring for my weight help?
Depends.
So I love helping people out,
Yeah.
like especially when they've
vague.
just completely discounted the sponsor of mine that is by far and away the best solution.
How much is a respring going to cost you?
$120 on
You're
the
half-
website.
Well,
there.
I mean, if you buy springs and you know
Doing
have
it
somebody throw 'em in,
yourself.
but right, where are you going to get away with the bushings and seals and somebody
That's
to
what
do
I'm
it,
telling
and they're
you.
going to want to valve it, and
Right.
you know, and
That's what
you're
I'm
going to be
telling you.
$900.
Okay, so what's Jesse? What's your answer? You can't use flex bars. What are you going to use?
You can't use. Why can't you use flex bars?
Because he doesn't have $300 to spare.
He's going to respring his forks for $200.
I would tell this guy first off, what bike are you riding?
It's a DRZ
right.
400. I'm guessing.
Okay.
Because he's asked a lot of questions before.
Okay.
But I know, well, actually, he came out here and raced. He came out to District 38 and raced a race on a DRZ 400 he'd never ridden before.
Okay.
But anyway, so that might
Respect.
be the bike.
Respect.
Yeah. So that's a little bit of a clue to his setup.
Well, I'll tell you what. The reason his wrists hurt is because he did that, and they've never recovered.
Oh,
Okay.
possibly. Yes.
And the suspension probably needs a service after that.
Right.
sure.
Yeah.
There was some suspension questions previous to that, but like he wrote it between. I didn't get to this question, and I was going to try to help him, but he's still running down this thing.
I'd say
I have
yes.
the answer.
Service it, put the right springs in it,
And run it.
set your sag.
Right. Fork oil height. Run. I'm going to say add some fork oil height because that's gonna stiffen it up and increase the bottoming resistance, and that's the cheapest, easiest thing to do just to start with. But yeah, spring for your weight would help, and at some point, like even if you went to flex bars, even if you didn't do those other things, if your forks aren't serviced and stuff, they're going to help on the initial bottom, but the bike's not going to work that good.
Yeah, your chassis is going to start being unbalanced and poking around or
Yeah,
deflecting off
lots
stuff.
of things to work on. Asher Leto. Okay. Jan Grace, and I have to confess that I pulled this off of Jan Grace. I pulled it off of the the Dakar Daily Podcast. It was a comment that was left on your show's
on our
podcast.
YouTube channel.
It says, "Hello,
hi.
I don't know why you're always on my Facebook friend recommendations page, but I'm pretty sure we don't know each other.
Because we're likable.
Maybe we have some common interests or some kind of connection.
Oh,
I tried to send you a friend invite, Jesse, but it failed.
On Facebook.
You can send me a friend invite. Let us know the truth. In any case, I wish you all the best."
Is there a link I can click on and download something?
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. There was.
Wait, can we pull our profile up and see what we're working with here?
It was all writing that I wasn't familiar with. It might have been kanji or some sort of Middle East scribing. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I'm usually pretty quick to accept all friend requests and click on links people send me.
Yeah. So Jan Grace,
download.
I think
any file you send me, I generally download it because what could possibly go wrong? And so yeah. Send me another one. It probably went to spam.
Right. Well, I collected it for you there.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
It was on your page. But anyways, just want everybody to know that Jesse is not actively taking care of his emails and things like that.
That's not new.
Aaron Pizzazz says, any thoughts on the Tactica electric bike at Dakar this year?
I saw a little preview of the Dakar Future, I think they call it, like their hydrogen combo bike, or not bikes, but vehicles. And
is that really weird looking one with the front?
It's just no. There's one that's normal looking. It just has this block, looks like a BMW flat twin, but I think it's just batteries.
Yeah,
I could get down with that.
Yeah, I mean, this is all about you.
To put the weight too.
Absolutely,
out in front of your feet, down low,
as low as you want it, down there in front of your toes. I saw it. It'll be interesting to see what those guys do. We actually have a bit of a connection there. We have another Campbell racing in a hydrogen vehicle with Jamie. Yeah, Race Co. USA.
Right.
Saying that right.
Yep.
Johnny Campbell's brother.
Johnny Campbell's brother, Jamie's master fabricator. He's got invited to race on this team with I think it's a hydrogen-powered cell buggy.
It's like a conglomerate of, I want to say, like all the car manufacturers, like Honda.
I think it's all the Japanese car manufacturers.
Toyota, a few other guys. They're kind of building one car and trying this hybrid.
They're trying to figure stuff out. I mean, it's cool.
And standardizing that system so they can all
the green, all the anti-green people are just like poo-pooing all this stuff, and I think it's cool when people are trying weird shit. And remember the Camion Belay?
No.
The truck that used to pick up all the used to go and pick up all the bikes.
Yeah. Oh, like
all
the
broken
little
bikes.
dump truck.
Yeah.
It's gonna just be picking all these things up.
Oh,
it's
cool.
gonna be it's just gonna be picking up all the these weird vehicles with all these different, and I think they're on like a modified course.
They're on a completely different course, and it's like
for sure.
30-kilometer stages or something.
Right.
It's really short.
It's interesting to see them try, and it's kind of cool when you put it in this weird environment where all of a sudden it becomes competition, and they, they're trying to make it work.
Yeah.
And I mean, if once you can do it all you want in your skunk works and stuff, but until you take it out to somebody else's place and see what they're going to throw it at, and I think ASO is being very careful about this, especially being in like Saudi where it's like all gas.
Yeah, the oil.
Different kind of things, but. I'm interested to see it. I hope they do some good coverage with it just to learn.
Yeah, just to get some highlights of the stuff that happens. They never get much play. It's more like hyped up before the race, and then it kind of disappears.
I'll tell you what's going to happen. A guy on a Suron B is going to he's going to strap
Ultra B.
3 batteries together. And he's going to beat all those guys.
on his back.
Yes. He's going to be some crazy. He's probably going to be like a Canadian or Australian. I don't know.
He's going to pay the $100,000 to the ASO to go out. He's going to have 4 batteries and a backpack, and he's going to go out and
a solar panel
beat all the Audi.
I actually had
Quattro.
I had the crazy idea to go to not to Dakar, but to your race, your race and to TKO.
My race?
And
it's not my race.
Yeah, it is.
It's Sean's race.
Your race.
I mean, I am a legend at TKO now because I've raced it twice on electric bikes. So yeah, I guess it's my race.
I was just going to go there because I think I could win that thing.
And the electric bike class, it's good. It's a great Tennessee Knockout hard enduro. They have an Moto class sponsored by ECR, which is Electric Cycle Rider, Tucker's website's great for electric motorcycle info, actually.
Yeah.
It's super cool. You run your own class, but then you get lumped into the main bike course for your final event. So you don't ride a neutered course, really.
Yeah,
you ride a real
thing.
course, but your qualifying is set up so that you're independent qualifying, so that all of only the best e-bike finishes get to go with the gas bikes, basically. But you get tons of, again, it's about how much time you get on the track and how much fun you can have. And it's ridiculously fun doing hard enduro on an electric bike. I did Surons for 2 years in a row there.
As promoters, were you worried somebody on a Suron was going to be able to go kind of carry their bike through and that light bike? And
yeah, they're not that light to carry necessarily. You can pick them up a little easier.
I've watched dudes in Hawaii do some stuff that.
Well, you're talking about Hawaiians who are on another level of
crazy
things that they shouldn't. People shouldn't do. They just do like it's normal.
Right. If a Hawaiian regular race over there's an extreme.
Oh, I'm going to the IRC Enduro Fest this year. So
yeah,
that's
the only race I ever took all my clothes off and laid on the ground and then put my clothes back on and then almost won the thing overall.
Perfect.
Yeah,
you got this. So I think you should go race TKO on an electric bike. It's really cool.
No, I retired last year.
And your last chance. I guess I'll beat you then.
Beta regrets, says Gronk VBS. Suspension woes, $550 piston kit and $300 gasket kit with no aftermarket options that I couldn't get all summer.
Parts.
Bike was down from early spring and repaired in September.
What is $500 piston, shock piston or
no? Probably motors engine piston.
Because he says suspension. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah,
two problems.
I mean, $500 for a piston. Whatever,
it's getting there now.
That's
what
not
is
crazy.
What does a KTM 500 piston cost now? $350, $370?
Yeah, I don't know retail, but I mean,
they're not cheap. Oh, the OE one is up there too because that's they're hard to find even other ones.
I mean, this is 4-stroke stuff, and definitely, it's been hard to get parts and pistons from suppliers, especially European brands.
Yeah.
So that's.
Yeah, that is unfortunate
stuff. He could have bought a KTM though.
He could have bought a KTM. He's thinking about it now. Chris B says, any thoughts on the Battleborn rally for May? All of the thoughts I described earlier about putting on a rally. I had asked some questions. You know about this one?
What's a Battleborn rally?
Yeah,
it's some guys
a
in
Nevada rally?
Some guys that are trying to put together a rally in Nevada, and they actually want to have a journalist class, Jesse. So
motorcycle rally
motorcycle rally.
All cars,
motorcycle rally,
just motorcycles.
And I think they're gonna. I don't think they understand the scope of what their permitting will require.
Oh, I see.
That's just I can put it no simpler than that. So I don't have any thoughts until somebody explains to me. Mark Daniel says, Quinn knows all about crashing in the Baja 1000 in the dark with no helicopter support at night.
Yes.
You do that too?
Yeah.
I didn't know about this.
I haven't done that.
I was lucky enough to get picked up by some locals, some spectators in a Jeep that I had a broken femur. And otherwise I would have been there till sunrise. But some locals picked me up, completely borracho, loaded me in the back of the Cherokee, and one of them jumped on the race bike, and rode it down course. And so
Honda days, right?
This was a KTM.
Oh, KTM.
Yeah. So I was in the back of this Jeep bouncing around, my leg flopping all over the place, and I think it was maybe 15 miles out to the highway, and the guy kept crashing on the bike, and so. we finally got him. Yeah, finally got him out to the highway, and then the cops stopped the guy. They're like, "Whoa, what's going on?" Some local riding the KTM factory bike.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time a factory race bike has been ripped off down in Baja.
Yeah. So and that was a long night for sure.
Let's see. Baja versus Dakar. What about the booby traps? Does it even happen at Dakar?
I don't think
not in my day.
Saudi Arabia, I don't think there's enough spectators that are out there really hitting it.
Some of the guys were saying that it was getting a little sketchy in the dunes last year. Like I remember Skylar in particular said that somehow like
people were lining up next to the cut dunes.
And it was, or they were just kind of like they'd found out where the course was coming, like where it was finishing.
Yep.
And they started going out there in their Land Cruisers.
Oh, he was talking. Yeah, he was talking about trucks out there, like driving
trucks, like driving
backwards on the course or
and,
crossing it, or their buggies and stuff. Yeah, that's right.
I mean, in South America, it was pretty good. Like in Argentina, it was really well controlled, but in Chile, it started to get a little crazy as it got open because you can't really control like the big dunes and stuff. So I wouldn't say no one was making booby traps, but traffic and spectators a lot of times can be scary, right? You don't want a car pulling out in front of you or coming backwards on the course.
But this isn't on the same level as Baja, because Baja's pretty dense now.
I mean, people say booby traps, right? But
it's just people out there.
They're trying to build a jump, right?
Right.
They're they want to see some action. They're sitting there for 4 or 5 hours.
Just because they think a telephone pole with a little bit of dirt piled in front of it, it's a jump, and you're going 90 miles an hour when you hit this thing.
Yeah.
It's just a different perception. They've never seen anything. Well, back in our days, they'd never seen anything go 35 miles an hour down the road. So when it went 50, that was we'll make it go in the air.
Deal. No, and I don't think in Mexico they ever really had intention of hurting people. It was just bad execution. They wanted to see a show, and they built really bad jumps and
bad ideas.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, it was. I just saw some really horrible construction techniques.
I remember there was one in, we went through some little village somewhere, and it was kind of, you had to slow down and go through some fences and through this town. And there was a jump, a little, 8-inch high berm, but it had broken beer bottles sticking out of the top of the thing.
Maybe that one was
that might have been a little sinister.
Sketchy,
but I mean, you just blow right through it and whatever, but
for sure.
So I don't remember any booby traps. Most people were just like, they never seen that kind of stuff come through town, sort of, or village, whatever it was. And the worst thing I had to worry about was like when you would stop, they would want to, peel your stickers off or put your hands in your pocket, because that's kind of what they do. That's just their function of their economy. It's like and they knew from the race coming through, this comes once every 3 or 4 years. Better get it while it's hot.
Yeah.
So they're gonna kind of snatch and grab.
Hey, I think everything's different now with social media, and everybody's so connected that even now in Saudi, they find out where the course is going to be, and it's been there a few years now. So you're going to start seeing more and more spectators out on the course.
Yeah. And I know in South America it became problematic because even they'd have to get permits, with the municipalities, and you find out like the police knew where to go station on the corners, and they'd tell their friends, and all of a sudden their friends would be out there, and and so then if you knew a guy and another guy knew a guy, maybe the map man might have known a guy, and he talked to the guy, hey, what, you got a map? Oh yeah, I got a map, and
they're giving away the course.
So all of a sudden it's here we go, map man. Jerry Bernardo, Kurt Caselli will be inducted into the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame class of 2024. So that's pretty cool. Well deserved.
Super very cool. Very awesome.
And let's see. I think that's it for the question. Have any other ones? Oh, Rally Navigator. You know that guy?
Yeah.
Rally Navigator. Hey dudes. That's all you got, Mike.
Dudes.
That's it.
Yeah. He's got some good stuff coming up. We're going to talk about it Dakar Rally Daily episode when we give him a big blurb. But
like a note with a bunch of stuff to talk about.
Cool stuff for promoters to distribute road books digitally to people.
So he's got the guys thing where they disappear.
Yeah, they disappear.
So your road books can't get ripped off.
Yep. You can't steal them.
I know.
And a really good road book reader for a mobile device.
Yeah, good for me.
Yeah, and if you have, mobile devices, he's got an updated reader.
Yeah, mine got really borrowed. I extensively borrowed my road books.
Just don't leave them laying around haphazardly.
Yeah, they just, you let.
I mean, I've still got old Barstow road books floating around for sure, people.
Yeah, yeah. Mine were on a drive someplace that got exported.
Really?
Jason Abbott, you know that guy? Remember that guy? Yeah.
Export.
Where's my? He's Can-Am Electric.
He's in Idaho.
Yeah.
I think he's working at the Can-Am. Well, he's doing some stuff with Can-Am for sure. Yeah, I've seen him pop up.
Yeah, on the.
He's a Dakar Rally Daily listener.
Okay, he's probably trying to get some insights and stuff. So, I would be amiss if I didn't ask you guys your predictions, because I know how much you guys listen to your show. I know how much you guys like.
This is me slipping into pre-race despair and depression.
Yeah, well, don't worry. You have to get up really early. I just get up and listen to it later.
I'm really not good at predicting this race. I think that's a safe assumption to say. Like, I'm not good at predicting.
So are you asking about winners? You asking about
just winners. Let's go straight to
the top.
Straight to the top.
Or what's going to happen on the way.
And a couple things. I'll just help you out. So there's this new thing, this new super marathon stage or whatever they
48-hour chrono.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure I because they always introduce something like and I'm not happy about bonus times, just because I think it was implemented. I don't have a problem with bonus times, but you should not re-rack the finishing positions with bonus times. Like if your bonus time, if you finish third with your bonus time, or if you finish third and then your bonus time brings you back to first, you should not start first the next day.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You absolutely.
You shouldn't
I hope they realize that. I hope they fix that. Have you heard?
I see.
I heard they're going to change it the way it's delivered, like the amount of bonus and I think they're going to change it by stage too.
Yeah, because I heard it was put on improper stages, like on a dusty stage where it's stupid. Yeah. But it requires navigation, and and when you talk about all these guys getting hurt, they're freaking hauling ass. They need to slow down and navigate. Like they're just chasing each other's tails, and the guy in front suffers hugely. And this is why bonus time, I understand it. But make the navigation more difficult, and then navigation plays a bigger part in the rally. To that, but so in this long stage, what are they? So they're going to have to neutralize at a certain point.
Yeah, I mean the way I understand it is they're gonna basically you race until 4 p.m. and then they're gonna have a series of bivouacs set up along the route, and whatever the next bivouac after 4 o'clock you come to, you have to go in that one and spend the night. And there's supposed to be 6 or 8 bivouacs. Yep. So I don't know how far apart they're going to be.
6 or 8.
And this is the big question is it going to be like, is that your advantage of where you finish is where you start the next day and you maybe have a 10-kilometer advantage on the guy who,
because you're going to start at the same time, like restart again,
right? That's the question.
And then
because it's one scored as one stage, but it's over 48 hours, and you're required to stop at 4 o'clock p.m. where you stop on the course
to after,
your time stops at 4, and then you advance to the next bivouac. So if you're coming into the entrance of a bivouac at 4 p.m.,
you just go right in.
Be like, you'll be stopping. But if you just got past that, then you go all the way to the next one and stop.
So there was a rally, the Egypt rally, and I don't know if it was the Egypt rally or what, but it was in Egypt. It was this guy named Fanui that did a 48-hour stage where at 6 p.m. you stopped and you slept there with your bike. There was nothing else. It was just like you, and it was
slept where you.
It was in a time of year where the temperature wasn't going to be a concern or anything like this. Yeah. But if you wanted to carry some stuff in your backpack to make your sleep a little bit easier, you could.
Yeah,
you stopped and you weren't allowed to take off again until the next morning at this thing. So this has been done before. But those are like those long, marathon stages. But I also think is another thing that's a little. In my opinion, and of course I'm old and, fucking walked uphill in the snow every day to school, whatever I did, I don't remember. But like make stages longer, 400-kilometer stage,
seems pretty long.
Make them 600 and 800 kilometers like they used to be, and then you can't go all out because where are you going to eat? You're going to eat at the end. And so, they're a little bit more like, kind of like, 10K runs, not marathons or not 100-milers.
It's a commercial event, right? They're based on entry fees and sponsorships and stuff, and they have 140 motorcycles, right? So you can make a 600-kilometer stage for the top 20 guys, But what about that other 110 guys in the back? They ain't going to make it before dark, and then they're going to be out there
Makes the best highlight
sweeping all
reels.
these guys.
The best highlight reels are the guys just completely suffering. They're not dying; they're suffering. Just getting. But you need to harden the fuck up. And if you're going to do Dakar, it's not like you're. I have enough money. I want to go pay it.
I totally agree. I mean, I say put them out on the second day and then be left with 30 guys that are good, right?
They used to have 300 motorcycles, and by the fifth day, there was 150.
I'm all for it, but I think they're worried that their entries are going to suffer, right? Because it's already such an expensive event. Yeah. And a guy spends his life savings to sign up and race, and he goes out on the second day. And then
it's like me racing a hard enduro, and like if I can't get past the first obstacle and I paid, $100 or $150, then I'm just like, well, shit, I'm not coming to this race again. But it costs $100,000.
I think there's people lining up all day long to say they did Dakar and they wanted to do Dakar and whatever. You got to be a little bit more prepared than that. You can't just pay the entry fee and then all of a sudden I'm gonna be in this elite club that finishes Dakar. You have to earn that finish.
You saw with all the Moto guys that lined up last year, right? With all the Americans. I mean,
yeah, we lost a lot of good guys out there.
I don't think how many of those guys were training with Jimmy Lewis
Paul Neff,
Paul and Kyle
McCoy.
Yep.
But they went out injury wise. They were fine. But the same thing. It's like you got to ride within your means, and even if it's a long day, you just got to prepare for it and be ready for it. I don't know. I'm just a hard ass, I guess. I like
the chrono stage will be interesting though, because you could gain a pretty good advantage if you just snuck through a bivouac and you can advance a long ways to the next one. But I don't think it'll be very far.
That's the thing is where you stop. I mean, would you want to stop right? Would you want to get right past a
Yeah, I think you'd want to be right past one, right?
You get to go to the next
right
one.
past it.
You get a 10-kilometer advantage in the morning.
I'm still confused at how this works, and the worst thing about it is all of a sudden we come into some sort of roulette mechanism.
Right.
There's already enough of that in if you have to open, you have to open, which means lead out on a stage where there's a bad map book. You get so screwed on this
for nothing, no talent, no skill. It's just luck.
It's just a map book that's not proper. This happened a couple years ago.
Just dumb luck.
So we've seen a lot of this kind of stuff, and it's very rare these days that you see. Although we've seen it this year, but they were on dusty stages, from what I understand. It's very rare that you see someone win a stage and then open again and win the stage on time.
Yeah.
They didn't use bonus time to get the stage win back. They actually are opening and
I almost think it's not really possible.
Yeah,
unless it's super dusty.
Yeah, they have to. They need to. I think they need to make the navigation tricky enough to where they pack up. I think they need to start in lines more. They need to start them all 10 at once, and they're so against this, and I don't know why. Probably because every stage that I have ever won in my life has been when we start in the line.
Start.
You want to know what that means? I'm the best navigator, motherfucker. I can navigate, and then when we have to race for that 10 kilometers, when we know the finish is inside, I can go fast too. But I can't go as fast as you and risk my life for the whole time. It's like I can navigate, and then when all of a sudden you decide you're faster than me and you want to go ahead, and then you go the wrong way, and I'll wait long enough till you can't see me, and I'll go the right way. We need more of this, and it's great if you got a helicopter in the air because you get to see these games. Makes good TV, ASO. It's free advice. Go back to that.
All right, so what's your prediction, Jesse?
Are you asking my race prediction first?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with, I think Toby Price is really mad that he wants those 47 seconds back last year, and I don't think there's anything that's going to stop him from winning this race, barring complete mechanical failure or an injury that is impossible to ride with, like a broken femur.
Yeah, that guy will ride.
Like if he has a broken arm, I'm not counting him out still. I think he can probably still win, or a shoulder, or
proven.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, little things aren't going to bother him. He is the hardest dude there, in my opinion, by far.
Yep.
So Toby Price has my definite vote of confidence until something happens to prove me wrong. He's always a favorite in my mind. And then it's a big race.
Yeah. I mean, I said it in our Dakar Rally Daily pre-show I have two favorites, and I think it's Ricky Brabeck and Toby Price. I think both of these guys are veterans, and Ricky's now done enough Dakars. They're both former winners. I feel like Ricky's kind of in a good place right now. I think Jimmy probably know better, but I think he's been pretty quiet, and he's doing the work without maybe a whole lot of
noise,
fanfare and noise, and
dangerous.
So I think he's going to be dangerous. He's probably pretty motivated after last year. I think he learned some stuff maybe again. He's learned some hard lessons along the way. So
I think this is his 9th race too.
Yeah, and it's like that crashing out last year. That was not common. That was sort of rare.
Sure.
For him to have that, and it just shows these guys like the injury list kind of proves these guys are all pushing. They're all riding
pushing
really
hard.
But in Dakar, all of a sudden it goes from being a 5-7 day race to 14, and then there's this whole other thing that happens. A lot of stuff happens right in the beginning, and then you just get in the kind of this. Like this pace, and I believe Ricky is in the right place. I hope he's in the right place. I know he's done the work. I mean, there's no doubt about that. There's no doubt that there's definitely some other guys, and the crazy thing is that there's so many guys that are willing to just kind of hang it out. Because I remember when I was racing, there was guys that could hang it out to a level that they could put themselves in an untouchable position.
Yeah,
and they're and that's the way they rode. They're like, I can't win this thing on my speed or my navigation alone, but I can take some big ass chances, and I can get out there. And there's a little bit of that injury. Like I said, injuries are proving that this is kind of a tactic or a technique for some of these guys. So I hope it. I hope it's tough. They say it's going to be the toughest one. I hope it's toughest one because I like to see that.
It wasn't too long ago that we would see guys get 45 minutes and just be out front, and the race would be a little bit boring, right? And then last year, we're at 45 seconds.
Yeah,
just crazy still.
They've done. I mean, as far as making it a show, they've done the things
to tightened it up
to turn it into a show. I just sometimes it's a little bit too much of a show.
And I think if there were longer stages, if they were 600 and 800 kilometer stages, then
you'd see some
gaps.
gaps.
You'd see 45-minute gaps, and you'd see guys losing.
Yeah, you see the guys that are really good at just holding it together for that long of a period. So maybe it's.
And the guys say that too. It's like, it was a 180 kilometer stage. I knew I wasn't gonna be able to make any time, so I didn't even try.
Yeah,
I just held it together and stayed with the group.
Oh, they didn't even try, but they pinned it.
Well, you know what I mean.
I didn't try to get in front.
They knew they weren't going to gain anything, so it wasn't worth taking a big risk, right?
They're pinning it for very quickly, very.
Their idea of taking it easy is a different level.
Whole different level, yeah.
It's crazy.
Awesome. Well, anyways, so everybody, thanks for joining and watching us on the show tonight. It's awesome to have such a big group on the Tech Talk Taco Wednesday with no tequila. Unfortunately, Jesse.
No tequila.
I didn't have a lot of notice.
Okay.
Next time.
So Dakar Daily Podcast?
Yeah. Search for it, Dakar Rally Daily. Anytime you get a podcast, is usually Apple Podcasts or Spotify or Google
go
Podcasts.
there and subscribe to it
so
so you get the notifications and stuff. And then if these guys are off a little bit, they definitely need to leave it in the comments. And if you
roast me in the comments.
If they're bad information, just let me know and I'll deliver it back to them. It's always nice
filter.
to just rib my friends. Thanks a lot, Quinn. I thought we were gonna have a lot more KTM questions for you since you run the company and getting good. I'm all excited to go ride the 300 I have in the back of my truck, but everybody's telling me the Beta is better. But I don't listen to these kids anymore. I don't even know where that came from as far as the kids. Like, remember when there was something weird like a Beta, which Beta is not totally weird.
Not anymore. They got a supercross race team.
God, but the 300 KTM is so good. Have you ridden the SX?
Oh, I've not ridden the SX.
Oh my God.
No, I think I only rode XC. Same thing.
Basically the same. Yeah.
TBI though.
Yeah.
Throttle body.
Yep. So pretty cool.
Yeah. Very cool bikes.
Jesse, thanks for letting us in here.
You're welcome. Anytime.
All good. Tell Sean he can buy Dirt Bike Test at any time. Trevor, I'll sell Trevor really cheap. He's way better than the other guy that puts bumps on your seat or whatever that guy is. I don't remember his name. So
Corner Coach. Shout out to the Corner Coach.
Corner Coach.
Cornercoach.com. Ryan Nitzen.
I'd like to thank the sponsors of this show. I have to call up my list again to make sure I don't forget any. But it's
Cycle News.
Yeah, Cycle News.
Cycle News. Just
the
subscribe for free.
Subscribe for free. Anything you get for free has got to be good, right?
It's worth every penny.
Okay. Cycle News, weekly motorcycle news, racing results.
So much stuff.
Yeah. Bike tests.
It's a lot of stuff.
They're almost as good as the ones we do in Dirt Bike Test. Like that guy said, informative. Again, Yamaha, Taco Moto, Scott Sports, Climb, DDC, Trail Tech, Fasst Company, Bulletproof Designs, and Double Take Mirrors. The other thing we're going to do with our Rooster Endo segment, so you know to get your bikes in, we're going to do a Rooster Endo show. All we're going to do is show people's bikes. We're probably going to do it at Taco Moto. We're going to have people bring some of their bikes. We might do some live bike critique.
That's a great idea.
So I know I'm going to get punched in the face. When I tell somebody what I think of their bike.
I think the people you piss off just leave and they're like, wait a minute.
I should have punched the guy.
I should have punched that guy. That was
apologies to all the Canadians and Australians out there. I'll expect all the comments in the morning back on the thing. We'll put them on the show next week. So with that, what we like to say at the end of the show is we will see you out on the trail. We give a thumbs up and say cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, everybody.
Don't forget that I welded my bike with rebar.
Oh boy. Now I got to remember how to turn